Welcome to Wife Cheating Story. I hope you have an enjoyable and relaxing time listening. Let's get started.
He had always been meticulous, trusting every detail, but tonight Merrick's world began to crumble. Selena's laugh, too bright, drifted across the party as her hand lingered on Porter's arm. A secret phone, mysterious texts with Tate, prospect, signed with heart emojis, and forged documents hinted at a deeper betrayal. "You're paranoid," she spat, but his gut screamed the truth. His wife wasn't just unfaithful, she was scheming, conspiring with his own brother. Would the man who built perfect structures now demolish the foundation of his life? The answers would come, but not without devastating consequences. Chapter 1. Merrick Callahan adjusted the final string of lights around the garden arch, stepping back to survey his handiwork. The hum of conversation drifted from the house, where guests mingled for his daughter's high school graduation party. At 41, Merrick was used to orchestrating grand spaces. He was an architectural consultant who specialized in dramatic statement projects, but tonight's arrangement wasn't for a client. It was for Melina, the sunshine of his life. He wanted everything perfect. A gentle June breeze rustled the rose bushes along the walkway. Merrick took a moment to breathe in the scent of fresh-cut grass. In these fleeting seconds, he could forget about the simmering tension in the air, about Selena, his wife, drifting through the party with that practiced hostess smile that no longer reached her eyes. About Porter, his younger half-brother, whose presence never failed to unnerve him. In the distance, near the tall hedges, he spotted Mercy, his longtime friend from college, chatting with Selena. Mercy shot him a pointed glance, as if to ask, "Are you okay?" He offered a small nod in return, ignoring the tightening in his chest. He supposed Mercy was right to worry. The last few months had felt off. Subtle changes in Selena's behavior, suspicious phone calls, unexplained absences. He was a detail-oriented man, and the smallest inconsistencies troubled him. But every time he confronted Selena, she'd brush him off or wage a small argument until he dropped the subject. He forced a smile, reminding himself, this night is about Melina. He wouldn't ruin her celebration with his mounting suspicions. Just then, Selena's laugh drifted over the garden, too loud, too bright. Merrick's chest tightened. She stood with Porter by the pool's edge, the two of them in animated conversation that felt oddly intimate. He noticed how Selena's hand briefly brushed Porter's arm, a gesture too familiar for in-laws who weren't particularly close. The sight sent a prickle of unease along Merrick's spine. "Dad!" Melina's voice chirped behind him. She wore a pastel blue dress, her mortarboard in hand from the earlier ceremony. "Everyone's raving about the design. It looks like an enchanted forest out here." Merrick turned, a genuine smile breaking across his face. "Only the best for you, sweetheart," she beamed. "Thank you, Dad. By the way, Uncle Porter was looking for you earlier. Said something about wanting to talk over an investment idea?" Merrick masked his annoyance. Porter's investment ideas usually meant borrowing more money. "I'll find him," Merrick said, simply. Then he gently put an arm around Melina's shoulder. "Why don't you head inside and enjoy your party, honey?" Melina nodded, bounding off to rejoin her friends. Merrick inhaled slowly, stepping further into the yard where the guests enjoyed the evening. Strings of fairy lights glowed overhead like tiny stars, reflecting off the glass lanterns carefully placed among the shrubs. The setting was dreamlike, a testament to his knack for aesthetics. He found Porter by the buffet table, sipping a craft beer. At 35, Porter was tall, athletic, exuding a casual confidence that Merrick had always found both irritating and, in weaker moments, enviable. "Merrick, there you are," Porter greeted with that easy grin. "Great party, man. You sure know how to blow a fortune on decor. Merrick forced a chuckle. You can't put a price on Melina's happiness. Porter's gaze flickered, revealing something almost scornful. Right. Well, about that investment opportunity. Not tonight, Merrick said, struggling to maintain composure. Let's not bring business into Melina's graduation party. Porter shrugged, unoffended. Sure, we can talk tomorrow, but don't take too long, or I might approach someone else for a loan. Merrick stiffened. The notion that Porter might approach someone else implied a threat like Merrick was privileged to lend him money. I'll be in touch. From across the lawn, Selina's voice rose in an exaggerated laugh. Merrick's eyes trailed over to see her chatting with Tate Fincher, a local property developer who occasionally worked with Merrick's firm. She was leaning in too close again. What is going on with you lately? He swallowed, forcing the question aside, plastering a polite smile as a neighbor cornered him to compliment the lighting design. Outwardly, everything was perfect, but inwardly, an unshakable sense of dread unfurled. Once the final guests departed near midnight, Merrick found himself alone in the backyard, gathering stray plates and cups. The laughter had ceased, leaving only silence punctuated by the soft hum of pool filters and the chirping of distant crickets. Melina had gone to bed, overjoyed by her gifts and friends' presence. Mercy had left with a quick hug, whispering, "Call me if you need anything." Porter had headed out earlier, offering a casual wave and a cryptic, "See you soon." Selina emerged from the house, her red heels clicking on the stone path. Need help? Her tone was neutral, neither warm nor hostile. I've got it, Merrick said, not quite meeting her eyes. I was waiting for you to come back earlier, but you seemed busy talking to Tate. She arched a brow. He was praising your design skills, actually. Why the tone? Merrick exhaled, carefully stacking plastic cups. No tone. Just noticing you spent quite a while with him twice tonight, actually. Selina's gaze hardened. Why are you always suspicious these days? He paused, setting the cups aside. Because things feel off. You vanish for hours, come home with weak excuses. I see how you react whenever Porter's around, or even Tate like you're looking for something. He held her stare. Am I imagining it? Selina's lips tightened. Yes, you're imagining it. My God, Merrick, you've become so paranoid. If you can't trust me, maybe you should do some soul-searching about this marriage. His heart pounded. I'm not paranoid. Then stop accusing me. She turned, heading inside, her footsteps echoing with anger. Before disappearing, she tossed back. And next time you want to talk about feeling off, maybe see a therapist. Alone again, Merrick fought the urge to fling the plates into the pool. Stop. He had always been methodical, not given to outbursts. If something was truly amiss, he'd gather evidence carefully, logically. Architecture taught him that you don't demolish a structure on a whim. You identify the cracks, study the foundation, then decide the best course. He gazed at the gently rippling water. Selina's hostility tonight was more than just annoyance at his suspicion. It hinted at deeper guilt. He resolved to remain calm, collect facts, and if his worst fears proved true, well, he wouldn't break. He'd plan. Because architects always plan. 2 days later, Merrick sat in Mercy's office, a small but sleek space that served as her home for her private investigations. Officially, she was an information consultant, but practically, she acted like a private detective for corporate and personal clients. Once a close college friend, Mercy was the only person he trusted to confide in about his suspicions. I never thought I'd see you in my office for personal reasons, Mercy said, leaning forward across her desk. We used to joke about you being the perfect husband and father. So, What changed? Merrick raked a hand through his hair. I suspect Selena is having an affair, or multiple affairs. My gut says Porter's involved, but I also see her flirting with Tate. Maybe it's just a tactic to hide the real affair with Porter. She's definitely hiding something. Mercy's expression turned serious. You sure you're not overreading signals out of jealousy? He sighed. I'd love to be proven paranoid, but so many odd things have popped up. Mysterious calls, suspicious bank charges, unexplained tension whenever she's near Porter. She's never at home these days, yet claims she's with clients or at networking events. He paused, the memory of her shouting, "You're paranoid!" echoing in his mind. I need answers, Mercy. If I'm mistaken, fine. If not, I have to be prepared for the fallout. Mercy considered him for a moment, then nodded decisively. I can help. We'll do it right, no illegal hacking or bungled break-ins. We'll gather legitimate evidence. If there's wrongdoing, we'll find it. If not, you can rest easy. Merrick exhaled, relief and dread mingling in his chest. Thank you. Unbeknownst to Merrick, Mercy was also harboring a personal stake. She had a quiet feud with Selena for years, nothing overt, but a rivalry from college days. Mercy would do her job professionally, but the chance to out Selena's potential infidelity gave her an undercurrent of grim satisfaction. She'd bury that feeling, focusing on Merrick's best interest. But the tension might color her actions. All I ask, Merrick said, is that you keep this discreet. Melina mustn't be hurt. If there's no affair, I'll bury the suspicion and never speak of it again. Mercy nodded. Understood. I'll start with basic surveillance, her phone records, her car's GPS, maybe tailor on a day when she claims to have client meetings. If she's meeting someone else, we'll catch it. If it's legit, we'll see that too. She gave him a small, reassuring smile. We'll find the truth, Merrick. You deserve that much. He rose from his seat. I appreciate it, was all he managed. Because deep down, a part of him dreaded that the truth might confirm his darkest suspicions. That evening, Merrick was in his home office reviewing new architectural plans. His firm had a proposal to design a state-of-the-art cultural center downtown when his phone rang. Porter. Merrick almost let it go to voicemail but decided to pick up. Curiosity piqued. What's up, Porter? Bro, sorry to bother you, but I really need to talk. Meet me at Harper's Diner in half an hour? Merrick hesitated. Now? Yeah, it's important. Skepticism tugged at him, but he also sensed an opportunity to glean something. Fine. Half an hour. He arrived to find Porter already in a booth, sipping coffee, looking unusually tense. The diner was half empty, fluorescent lights casting stark shadows on the linoleum floor. Merrick slid into the seat opposite him. I appreciate you coming, man, Porter said, fiddling with a sugar packet. Listen, I know you've been wary of my investment proposals, but something big came up. I need capital like soon. If we move quickly, the returns are guaranteed. Merrick folded his arms. Guaranteed returns usually mean a scam, Porter, or at least high risk. Why so urgent? Porter's eyes darted around the diner. Look, you know me, I'm entrepreneurial. I found a niche with a new bar concept in Glendale. We need a final injection of funds to launch. Merrick stared at him. Glendale was close to where Selena claimed she had networking events. Could be a coincidence or not. How much are we talking? Porter leaned in. 100,000. But trust me, within 6 months, we triple that. Merrick let out a humorless laugh. Triple in 6 months? Are you serious? Porter's frustration flared. You think I'd lie? Damn it, Merrick, you always treat me like a loser. As Porter ranted about how Merrick never respected him, he accidentally let slip something about meeting some realtor who was also going to invest. He quickly tried to cover it, but Merrick caught the near mention of Selena's name. He felt his pulse quicken. "What realtor?" Merrick pressed, feigning calm. "Because if you're roping a realtor into your bar venture, that's odd." Porter's face reddened. It's complicated. She's just someone who might help me secure the location." "Enough about that. Will you help or not?" Merrick let a silence stretch, then stood, tossing down some cash for coffee. "I'll think about it. Don't hold your breath." As he left, Merrick's mind spun. So Selena was involved in some location scouting for Porter's business. Another puzzle piece? She never mentioned that. Why? Later that night, Selena was already asleep when Merrick entered their bedroom. The faint glow from her phone on the bedside table drew his eye. He recognized the wallpaper as the phone she used daily, but she had at times left suspicious charges to other accounts. Where does she keep her secrets? Quietly, he slipped into the walk-in closet. Searching through purses, he found the usual contents: receipts, lip gloss, business cards. Nothing revealing. But in one rarely used clutch, his fingers grazed a small smartphone. Wait, she has a second phone? He carefully lifted it out. The lock screen required a passcode. He tried her usual, Melina's birthday. It unlocked. Jesus, how predictable. The phone's messages were nearly empty, except for a single contact labeled Tate, prospect. The logs showed calls and texts about meeting times, but Tate is the property developer, so maybe that's business. But the tone in texts was suspiciously friendly, with heart emojis and "missing you" references. He took pictures of the text chain with his own phone. Then, setting the phone back exactly as found, he felt a swirl of anger and confirmation. She is definitely hiding something, possibly with Tate, or it's a cover for meeting Porter. One step at a time. Just then, footsteps approached the closet, Melina's voice whispering, "Dad?" He quickly pocketed his phone and stepped out into the bedroom. "Melina, it's late. What's up?" She rubbed her eyes. "I heard noises." "Everything okay?" Merrick forced a fatherly smile. "Yes. Just me rummaging for a charger. Go back to sleep, sweetie." Melina looked at him with concern, then nodded. "All right. Good night, Dad. Love you." He waited until she returned to her room, then sank onto the edge of the bed, staring at Selena's sleeping form. So many years of love, or so he thought. Now this. He recalled Mercy's vow to find evidence. He already had plenty from that hidden phone, but was it conclusive, or just an emotional flirtation with Tate? The big question, how does Porter fit in? The path forward was becoming clearer, albeit painful. He'd gather more evidence, systematically, then plan his confrontation. As an architect, he never rushed a build. He first laid a rock-solid foundation, ensuring no part of his plan could be undone by any legal or emotional sabotage. He intended to end this duplicity in a single strike that left no doubt who had been wronged and who was in control. At dawn, Merrick met Mercy at a discreet cafe across town. He slid the photos of Selena's hidden phone across the table. She examined them, her eyes narrowing. "Tate? Prospect? Missing you? This is beyond normal business talk." Merrick nodded grimly. "I suspect that's just a cover for something else. Possibly Tate is an accomplice or a front for Porter, or she's seeing Tate intimately. Could be both. The logs mention meetups at Glendale where Porter's new bar is supposedly planned. That can't be coincidence." Mercy tapped the table in thought. "We'll track Tate's movements, get financial data on him. Also, I'll stake out Glendale properties in the next week, see if your wife shows up with him or with Porter. Once we have a daytime, we'll get photographic proof." That phone is a huge lead. Merrick exhaled, relieved. "I'll keep up my normal routine, act none the wiser. Meanwhile, do you have any connections with local PD? Because if Porter is indeed laundering money or cutting shady deals, we might need law enforcement on board to build a real case. Mercy smiled. Remember Sergeant Vale? The exuse band of your co-worker? He owes me a favor. If we find evidence of bigger crimes, Vale can do the official rummaging. She paused. Though be careful. If you involve the police prematurely, Selina might catch wind and hide the trail. I trust your judgment, Merrick said, finishing his coffee. Just make sure we do this clean. I want bulletproof evidence. No sloppy vigilante stunts. Mercy smirked. You're talking to me, the queen of stealth. Don't worry, when I'm done, you'll have a fortress of evidence. He rose, the swirl of gratitude and dread intensifying in his chest. Thank you, Mercy. Let's get to work. That evening, Merrick found Selina in the kitchen, rummaging through drawers with a frantic air. Where is it? She muttered. She shot him an accusatory glance. Have you seen my black phone charger? I can't find it anywhere. He kept his expression blank. No, I have my own charger. Maybe you left it at a showing? She slammed a drawer shut, frustration radiating off her. Maybe. Then she forced a laugh. Sorry, guess I'm a little on edge. Busy day with clients, you know. Merrick nodded, stepping closer. Selina, talk to me. Why are you so tense? Is something wrong at work? She pressed her lips thin. I'm fine. Just stressed about upcoming property listings. She changed the subject abruptly. We should take a weekend trip soon, maybe reconnect. I know we've argued a lot lately. He forced a small smile. Sure. Maybe next month? She nodded, but her eyes flickered with something like guilt. She pecked him on the cheek, murmuring, I love you, you know, before hurrying upstairs. Her attempt at affection felt hollow, more like an attempt to quell suspicion. As she left, Merrick's phone vibrated with a text from Mercy. Meeting arranged. Glendale Stakeout tomorrow, 6 p.m. Perfect timing. He typed back, understood. I'll keep Selina busy if needed. Thursday evening, Mercy crouched behind tinted windows of her unmarked van, parked on a side street near an abandoned commercial lot in Glendale. She sipped coffee, glancing at her watch, 6:15 p.m. Selina was late, or maybe she wasn't coming. She had pinned a small hidden camera at vantage points, capturing the entire driveway that led to a battered warehouse building. Finally, a black SUV pulled up, Tate stepping out. He surveyed the area, phone to his ear. Moments later, Selina's sedan appeared, turning into the lot. She hopped out, dressed in jeans and a casual blouse unusual for her typical real estate attire. The two greeted each other with an awkward handshake. Then Tate guided her into the building. Just as Mercy was repositioning cameras, a familiar motorcycle roared into the lot. Porter. Mercy's brows shot up. So the entire trifecta was here. Porter parked, removed his helmet, scanning the surroundings with paranoid tension. Mercy quickly ducked behind the van's window, heart pounding. If they see me, the operation is compromised. But they seemed too focused on their clandestine meeting inside. Inside, Mercy's planted audio bug, disguised as a broken piece of vent equipment, transmitted muffled voices. Selina. So you're sure Merrick has no clue about this property? We're calling it a bar expansion project? Porter. Relax. My brother only half listened to me. If he invests, great. If not, we'll find other money. But he'll never suspect we're funneling the cash for your side hustle, Tate. Tate. I'm finalizing the deed transfers. Once we secure the false listing documents, we can flip this place quickly, no questions asked. The profit goes to us, no messy trails. Selina's laugh, somewhat nervous. I still worry Merrick might discover I forged a few signatures. He's so detail-oriented. Porter. He's detail-oriented about lighting design, not business. Don't overestimate him. He snickered. He's so gullible. Trust me, if we set this up right, we'll siphon more from him and be gone before he catches on. Selena. I guess you're right. Once we're done, I might push for that divorce. He's not the same man I married, and you... She let the sentence hang, perhaps glancing at Porter intimately. Tate. Focus. We need a clean exit plan if the property flips successfully. Remember, we have that foundation donation cover story, so it looks philanthropic. Meanwhile, we pocket the real profits. In her van, Mercy froze, capturing each word. This is bigger than an affair, this is fraud. She carefully recorded the feed, scanning the camera angles. The building's dirty windows offered partial glimpses of them inside. She had them on video together, but not super clearly. The audio was the real prize, revealing conspiratorial plans. She typed a quick text to Merrick. They're all here. Your wife, brother, and Tate. Definite illegal dealings. Got partial faces and full audio. This is big. He responded almost immediately. Proceed with caution. Don't blow your cover. Document everything. After 30 minutes, the trio exited, parted ways, Porter on his bike, Tate in his SUV, Selena in her sedan. Mercy waited until they were all gone, then snuck inside to retrieve her hidden microphone, ensuring no trace remained. She snapped photos of suspicious crates in a corner, possibly set up for future contraband. The stage was set. Now they had solid evidence, not just rumors. Back in her van, Mercy called Merrick. They basically admitted forging documents, planning to siphon money from you, and probably orchestrating more. Also, Selena implied she's on track to divorce you once they cash out. I'm sorry. Silence on Merrick's end, then a clipped, Thank you, Mercy. This is exactly what I needed to confirm. Before hanging up, Mercy heard the tremor in his voice. That night, Merrick sat in his study, the audio files from Mercy playing softly on his laptop. The words cut deeper than he'd expected, so they planned to rob me blind and vanish. Even more painful was Selena's casual mention of divorce, like he was an obstacle to be cleared. He reminded himself, keep your emotions in check. Analyze, plan. He jotted notes. 1. Affair. Not explicitly stated, but Selena's closeness with Porter suggests it. 2. Fraud. They intend to use phony property deals, forging Merrick's signature or using his funds. 3. Goal. Expose them in a single blow, no partial confrontation. 4. Concern. If they sense suspicion, they might accelerate or vanish. Need a careful trap. 5. Allies. Mercy for evidence. Possibly a discreet contact in law enforcement. 6. Timing. Wait until they think they're safe and unstoppable. Merrick also weighed how to protect Melina from this impending explosion. She adored Selena and Porter, seeing them as loving mother and fun uncle. This will shatter her world. But the alternative, allowing her mother's criminal betrayal to remain hidden, was unthinkable. I have to do this surgically, ensuring minimal collateral damage. He recalled Porter's investment pitch. 100,000. Perfect. He'd pretend interest, let them reveal more, and line up the final meltdown. Sighing, Merrick closed his laptop. No matter how methodical he was, this was personal. He envisioned the day he'd stand in front of them, revealing all the evidence. The Glendale stakeout footage, the hidden phone logs, the wire transfers. He forced the image aside, focusing on the next day's tasks. No rush, no mistakes. Like any structural demolition, it required careful engineering to bring the entire building down in one swift collapse. He left the study, carefully masking his turmoil. In the bedroom, Selena lay in bed, reading a novel. She glanced up, tension flickering in her eyes. Working late again? Merrick shrugged lightly. Yeah, big project deadline. How was your evening? She answered too quickly. Fine. Just errands. Possibly the Glendale fiasco. He forced a smile, kissed her forehead, and climbed into bed. She turned off her lamp, leaving them in darkness. It struck him how separate they were, lying inches apart, but a world away. Soon, it would be all laid bare. Melina's suspicions. As Merrick drifted toward sleep, he faintly heard the sound of footsteps outside the door. Then a gentle knock. "Dad?" came Melina's whisper. "You awake?" He rose, meeting her in the hallway. Her eyes glistened with worry. "Is everything, are you and Mom okay? She's been snapping at me for small things, and I overheard her talking to Uncle Porter on the phone about some big plan." Merrick's heart lurched. "We're okay, honey." He lied softly. "Just adult stuff. I promise you'll be fine. Try not to worry." She bit her lip, but nodded. "Okay. Night, Dad." Watching her return to her room, Merrick clenched his fists. They're making Melina anxious. He'd do whatever it took to ensure she emerged unscathed from their scheme. Chapter 2. At sunrise, Merrick awoke with renewed resolve. The Glendale stakeout had confirmed everything Selina, Porter, and Tate conspired to defraud him. Now came the systematic approach. He fired up his laptop, reviewing his digital logs. Hidden phone photos, Glendale audio recordings, Porter's suspicious investment pitch, Selina's forging mention. He created a coded blueprint, a demolition plan detailing each step to corner them. He typed, "Stage an interest meeting with Porter earn trust, get more evidence, coordinate with Mercy additional stakeouts following Selina's next moves, recruit a law enforcement contact, maybe Sergeant Vale, for background checks on Tate, monitor potential money laundering, protect Melina, keep her out of this until the final reveal." He closed the laptop, set to call Porter. The phone rang twice before Porter's casual voice answered. "Sup, bro? Changed your mind about that investment, huh?" Merrick forced a friendly chuckle. "Let's talk. That bar concept in Glendale, maybe I was too quick to judge. How about dinner tomorrow? Bring any docs you have. I'm free at 7 p.m. Porter's delight was evident. "Man, you won't regret it. Let's meet at Harvest Bistro downtown. I'll bring the business plan." "Sure," Merrick said, hanging up. Perfect, he thought. He'd learn about their next steps directly from Porter. If Porter was naive enough to brag about forging or hooking Merrick's money, it'd be on record. Mid-morning, Mercy texted. "I discovered Tate's used a shell company to buy Glendale property. We suspect dirty money. Met with Sergeant Vale. He's intrigued. This is bigger than we thought. They might attempt scamming multiple investors." Merrick replied, "I'll keep my meeting with Porter, gather info. Keep me posted." Between architectural consultations, Merrick's day blurred with discreet phone calls. He arranged with Mary Mercy's connections, ironically for an initial consultation about potential financial or criminal implications. Mary was a specialized attorney friend of Mercy, not from his immediate family, but recommended for her discretion. Everything had to remain hush-hush until he had enough evidence for a decisive strike. At lunch, Merrick found himself distracted, rechecking the Glendale audio logs. Selina's voice echoed, "He's so detail-oriented, but not in business. He'll never suspect." A pang of betrayal flashed. "You'll see just how detail-oriented I can be." That evening, Merrick arrived home to find Selina pacing the living room, an unopened bottle of wine on the table. "We need to talk," she said, voice tight. He braced himself. "About?" Her eyes flickered. I've been thinking. Let's go away next weekend, just the two of us. Some spa resort. We can fix whatever's become strained." Merrick masked his shock. This was a new tactic. "Sounds nice, but I have deadlines. Maybe next month?" She exhaled sharply. "You always have an excuse." "Fine. I'm trying to salvage our marriage, but you keep pushing me away." He studied her carefully. Was she just stalling for time, ensuring he remained clueless while she finished her scheme with Porter and Tate? Possibly. Look, I'm not opposed to a trip, but you sprang this on me last minute. Let's discuss it in a few weeks, maybe after Melina's next checkup or something. Selena's face twisted with frustration. Why are you so cold? He swallowed a retort, instead saying softly, We can't fix things with a single weekend away if we're not honest. Are you honest with me, Selena? Her eyes flashed. What's that supposed to mean? You know exactly what it means. Before she could respond, Melina came downstairs, sensing the tension. Mom, Dad, everything okay? Selena forced a bright tone. Yes, sweetie, just grown-up stuff. She glared at Merrick as if blaming him for the near argument. Merrick patted Melina's shoulder. All good. Let's have dinner. But inside, he reeled from how far they'd fallen. Once upon a time, they'd been a model couple. Now, they were two adversaries under the same roof, each hiding a deeper agenda. That night, after dinner, while Merrick was in the garage examining a new lighting prototype, he heard faint voices from inside Selena on a phone call. He inched closer to the door, quietly eavesdropping. Selena. He's resistant to traveling. We must keep him calm. We can't let him suspect the Glendale project. If I can't distract him soon, we might have to expedite our plan. I know, Porter, but Cy... Yes, tomorrow might help. He's meeting you for dinner? Good. Keep him sweet. Her words were like daggers. So she and Porter conspired to manipulate him. Merrick retreated to the garage, heart pounding. He refused to let anger cloud his plan. Stay methodical, gather more ammo, he reminded himself. Enough was never enough. He wanted absolute proof, so there'd be no escaping the consequences. Next evening, Harvest Bistro glowed with a classy ambiance, dim lighting, polished wood tables, subtle jazz music, perfect for quiet deals. Merrick arrived early, having discreetly set up a small recording device in his jacket pocket. He wanted every word on record. At 7:05, Porter strolled in, smiling broadly. Bro, good to see you. He slid into the booth across from Merrick. Ordered a whiskey for me. Merrick nodded, keeping the conversation light at first. They bantered about the bar concept, Glendale property. Then Porter opened a file folder with superficial charts. Look, these returns. If we get $100K from you, we double it by flipping the property in under 4 months. Then we open the bar, or we might resell it, depends on the market. Merrick pretended interest, flipping through documents. And the titles? The renovation costs? Porter shrugged. We have a partner who handles the legal stuff. Nothing you need to worry about. The key is, I'll do all the legwork. You just supply capital. Merrick pressed with faux curiosity. But Glendale's not cheap. How do we keep costs down? Heard rumors of forging permits, hidden deals? Porter stiffened, forced a laugh. You shouldn't pay attention to that gossip. We have ways to cut corners, sure, but it's legal enough. People do it all the time. All the time, huh? Merrick forced a grin. Even my wife might help being a realtor? Porter took a swig of whiskey, glancing away. Selena's always helpful. She's got good connections. Merrick leaned in, voice low. Look, if I invest, I need absolute assurance. No shady forging, no law breaking. I don't want my name tarnished. Porter smirked, false bravado. Relax, big brother. I got your back. You trust me, right? Porter, emboldened by Merrick's apparent interest, said, Tell you what, if you're still unsure, come check out the Glendale site next week. We can meet with Tate to show you the plans. If you see a real business potential, you'll sign off, right? Merrick's heart soared. They were inviting him deeper into the conspiracy. Perfect. Sure, that might help me decide. Porter, looking triumphant, signaled the waiter for another round. Let's toast to our future success. After we close this deal, maybe you can even retire early. Family first, right? Merrick matched the toast with a neutral smile. Family first, indeed. If only Porter knew what was about to come crashing down upon him. As they parted ways outside, Merrick checked the hidden recorder's playback. Crisp audio, enough to show Porter's willingness to engage in shady deals, mention Selena's help. Yet Merrick sensed bigger revelations awaited once Tate joined them. He texted Mercy. He wants me to see Glendale's site next week with Tate. We'll plan a bigger sting. She replied instantly. Yes, we'll get Vale on standby. We'll coordinate. The walls are closing in on them. Merrick walked to his car, adrenaline coursing. The final confrontation loomed. The foundation of their betrayal was nearly fully mapped out, ready for demolition. Chapter 3. A week later, Merrick arrived at Glendale's crumbling industrial district, where Tate's so-called bar expansion property lay. The building was a squat, graffiti-strewn warehouse with a battered sign reading "For Lease." Porter had insisted on a morning meeting, claiming fewer prying eyes. The morning sun highlighted every crack in the building's facade, an apt metaphor for the hidden cracks in Merrick's life. He parked and approached the front door, pushing past a chain-link fence that had been cut open. Inside, footsteps echoed on the concrete floors. Tate greeted him with a broad grin that never reached his eyes while Porter hovered behind. "Told you it's a gem in the rough," Porter said, gesturing at the high ceiling. "Plenty of space for a bar, dance floor, whatever." Merrick forced a polite nod, discreetly tapping the hidden button on his watch to start recording audio. "How do you plan to handle zoning? I see no commercial license posted." Tate waved it off. "We have ways. The city inspectors can be convinced with the right arrangement. Once we finalize the shell corporation, the property deed will be in my name, but your capital invests. We sell or refurbish. Profits get distributed quietly." Porter chimed in. "Think about it. We can funnel your money in, triple it after the flip, and no messy taxes if we do it right. Selena's pulling the real estate strings in the background." Merrick feigned interest. "Selena mentioned that, yes. She's a big part of this, I assume?" Tate smirked. "More than big. She's forging crucial documents like property tax forms so the official records look squeaky clean. Meanwhile, we pay squat in fees. She's good at forging signatures too, from what I hear. Knew how to replicate your style if needed." Tate continued with a laugh. "Heard she even practiced forging your name, just in case we need your authorization for something. Seems she's quite the resourceful spouse." Merrick kept his face impassive, though inside an icy rage took hold. "Impressive," he said softly. "Truly." They moved deeper into the warehouse, Tate pointing out planned renovations. Merrick snapped photos with his phone, claiming he needed to show them to my interior designer contact. In truth, he was documenting everything for Mercy and eventually the authorities. Just then, Selena's heels clicked across the concrete floor. Merrick stiffened. She must not see him. But ironically, that might tip them off. So he stepped behind an old metal shelf. Porter was supposed to have told her Merrick was busy. Did they intend for him not to overhear something? Selena's voice rang out, echoing in the cavernous space. "What's the status? Tate, did you finalize the hush payments for the building inspector?" Tate nodded. "Yeah, the inspector's on board. We slip him a couple thousand under the table. No official inspection required." Selena exhaled. "Great. And your update, Porter? Did Merrick bite on your dinner pitch?" Porter scowled. "He's cautious, but I think he's leaning yes. We need to push him soon or risk him backing out." Selena's tone turned edgy. "We can't wait too long. He's been acting odd, snooping. If he gets wise to the forging or the—" She broke off, noticing Tate glancing around. "Anyway, we need to wrap up. Let's schedule the final sale for next month. Once we have his money, we proceed with the last step." Merrick's heart hammered. The last step. Possibly her divorce plan or something more sinister. He forced calm, stepping out from behind the shelf, pretending to arrive just then. "Selena? Didn't expect to see you here?" She froze, eyes widening, but quickly composed herself. "Oh, Merrick. Yeah, I had to meet a prospective client." She shot a brief glare at Porter, who shrugged helplessly. Merrick played dumb. "Is this place the new bar site you mentioned, Porter?" Porter brightened, though tension flickered in his eyes. "Yes. So you see the potential now?" Selena coughed. "Merrick, sweetie, let's talk outside. The air in here is dusty." They moved to the entrance. She forced a smile. "Porter's bar project is legit. I promise. Don't be suspicious." Her false sweetness grated on him. He masked his voice in forced warmth. "I just want to be sure we're safe. You know me always thorough." She relaxed slightly. "Of course. Let's head out. I'll call you later, Tate." As they parted ways, Merrick's watch continued recording. He had everything. Confessions of forging, bribery, shady shell corporations, enough to bury them all. But he wanted more specifically, confirmation of her personal betrayal with Porter, just for absolute closure. The next morning, Merrick and Mercy met again. She'd analyzed the warehouse photos, cross-referencing city records with Tate's Shell Corporation. "It's definitely a front," Mercy said. "Also, your watch audio is gold, Selena openly discussing forging official documents and bribing an inspector. That's serious jail time if we present it right." Merrick nodded, scanning the transcripts. "We keep building the case. Once we strike big. There's no chance for them to weasel out legally." He paused. "Any sign that Selena is intimately involved with Porter, or is it purely criminal partnership?" Mercy pursed her lips. "One of my stakeouts caught them leaving a motel 2 towns over late last night. No reason for that if it's purely business. They looked close." A chill coursed through Merrick's veins. "So it's an affair. And the Glendale project is their big payoff, presumably to run off together once they have my money." Mercy placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "I'm sorry. Truly. We'll handle it. Next step is to coordinate with law enforcement carefully. But they're also stepping up. If they get suspicious, it might turn nasty. Are you prepared for that?" Merrick swallowed. "I have to be. Let them turn nasty. I won't yield." Just then, Mercy's phone buzzed with an anonymous text. "Stop poking around, Glendale. This is your last warning." She showed it to Merrick. "They're on to me. Or suspect a leak." Merrick's jaw clenched. "We push forward. Let them try to intimidate us. Just keep your guard up." He realized these people might do more than threaten, but he refused to be cowed. They had stolen enough from him: trust, love, family. He wasn't losing anymore. Back at home, Merrick found Selena in the living room, reviewing a glossy real estate magazine. She welcomed him with a cautious smile. "You're home early." He sat across from her, adopting a calm tone. "Yeah, wanted to spend some time with you." She brightened, though her eyes darted to her phone on the table. "That's nice. We hardly do that anymore. Maybe we can watch a movie." He forced a relaxed air. "Sure. Maybe later." They ended up sharing a takeout dinner with Melina, who was excitedly chattering about a summer internship she might apply for. Selena smiled, occasionally contributing, but Merrick noticed her phone buzzing at intervals. She ignored calls from a number labeled Tate. After dinner, while Melina stepped out to FaceTime a friend, Selena quickly texted something, presumably telling Tate she was busy. Merrick watched quietly, feigning ignorance. The sense of impending confrontation grew heavier by the day. He dreaded how Melina would react once this all broke. But he steeled himself. The blame lay on Selena, Porter, and Tate, not him. Late that night, Merrick scrolled through Mercy's latest updates. Confiscating suspicious documents from Glendale potential connection to a known money laundering ring, ties to a black market contractor Tate once hired. He had enough evidence for the police to arrest them all tomorrow. But he wanted a final confession from Selena, something about her personal betrayal with Porter, to confirm the entire scope. So he waited like an architect waiting for the perfect moment to detonate the charges in a demolition, ensuring the structure collapses in on itself with maximum precision. He closed his eyes, recalling the naive man he'd been months ago, believing wholeheartedly in Selena's devotion. Tomorrow or the next day, he'd show them the cost of underestimating him. Like designing a building, you plan every line, measure every angle. He had measured them, found them wanting, and soon he would tear their illusions down to the ground. Chapter 4. The following week found Merrick balancing a precarious juggling act, continuing his day job, finalizing the design for a new community cultural center while simultaneously tying up the loose ends in his revenge plan. He coordinated with Mercy daily, verifying timestamps, cross-checking phone logs, preparing statements for law enforcement. A sense of unstoppable momentum built, as though each hour brought them closer to a final crescendo. On a Tuesday afternoon, Porter texted Merrick, "We're finalizing the bar purchase tomorrow. Need your funds." "Perfect," he replied. "Sure, let's meet at my place tonight, 8 p.m. Then he notified Mercy. "They want the money now. Let's orchestrate the takedown." She indicated that Sergeant Vale was ready whenever they had enough to justify immediate arrests. As the clock neared 8 p.m., Merrick waited in his living room, laptop open, watch recorder ready, heart pounding. He had told Selena he was meeting with an investor this evening, so she had gone out, presumably to a client meeting, which likely meant hooking up with Porter or forging final documents. Fitting, he thought. They might walk into the trap together. Sure enough, at 8:10 p.m., two vehicles pulled up outside, Porter's SUV and behind it, Selena's sedan. They both stepped out, each carrying folders. Peering through the window blinds, Merrick's blood roiled. They arrived together, no more pretense. The charade ended tonight. He opened the door as they approached. Porter's grin was wide, but a trace of nervousness lay beneath. Selena attempted a polite expression, but her eyes flicked with guilt. "We wanted to finalize everything, Merrick," she said. "Time is of the essence." Merrick gestured them inside, leading them to the living room. He offered drinks, which they both declined. Fine, less time wasted. "Let's see the documents," Merrick said, voice steady. Selena handed over a set of forms. "These are standard investment contracts, naming you as a silent partner. We just need your signature. Then we deposit your funds into the Glendale Project account. Simple." Merrick skimmed them, noticing the suspicious disclaimers, the references to high-risk personal capital. It was a blatant trap to protect them from liability if the project went bust. "I see. And you prepared these, Selena?" He feigned mild curiosity. She nodded, looking uneasy at his question. "Yes. I handle real estate legal docs. Tate gave me the template." He turned to Porter. "You said we'd triple the money. But what's the real guarantee?" Porter's eyes flicked to Selena. "Look, it's straightforward. We have a buyer lined up. Once the bar is nominally opened, we flip it to that buyer for triple the cost. No risk." Merrick's anger simmered. No risk for them, full risk for me, plus the forging. He forced a calm nod, then leaned forward, opening his laptop. "I want you to see something." They exchanged confused glances. He hit play on a folder labeled Glendale Audio. Familiar voices Tate, Porter, and Selena played in crisp detail, references to forging, bribery, short-selling property. Porter's face paled. Selena gasped, stepping backward. Where did you get that?" she stammered. Merrick's tone turned icy. "I am not naive. Mercy recorded your Glendale meeting last week. Every bit of your scheme is here." He tapped the track forward, letting them hear Tate's mocking references to forging Merrick's name, plus Selena's mention of divorce. Porter lunged, trying to close the laptop. "You can't record us like that. This is entrapment." Merrick shoved him back with surprising strength. "Assault me, go ahead. Add that to your rap sheet. The police will love it." Selena's face crumpled. "Merrick, please. You don't understand. It's not as it sounds." He barked a hollow laugh. "It's exactly as it sounds. For months you conspired to steal from me, forging legal documents. Why, Selena? Was our marriage worthless to you?" She wept. "It started with Porter needing help. Then Tate offered a bigger payout. I was just trying to secure our future." "Stop lying!" Merrick roared. "You planned to run away with Porter once you had my money. Don't deny it." She glared at Porter. "This was your idea. You said Merrick was too gullible." Porter shot back. "Oh, please, you're the one who said you'd never— Enough!" Merrick's voice thundered, silencing them. "You destroyed this family, both of you." He rose, grabbing a folder from the desk. "I have recorded confessions, phone logs, a hidden phone you used, Selena, plus the Glendale stakeout evidence, all curated with Mercy's help. And guess who else is listening right now?" He clicked a button on his phone speaker. A female voice crackled. "Selena and Porter, this is Mercy. We have everything, so don't bother running." Selena's face went ashen. Porter clenched his fists. "This is illegal wiretapping. We'll sue you for—" Merrick cut him off. "By the time you do, the DA will have indicted you for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy, and that's not counting your probable money laundering angle. You think Tate will protect you? He'll flip on you in a heartbeat to save himself." Selena sank into the couch, tears streaming. "Merrick, I never meant I was trapped. Stop." His voice was cold. "I have just one question left. Are you also sleeping with him? That's the final piece." Porter snapped. "That's none of your business." Merrick's laugh was harsh. "It's very much my business if my wife has been unfaithful with my own brother." In a trembling voice, Selena admitted it. "Yes, for almost a year. I'm sorry." She met Merrick's gaze, but found only rage and heartbreak there. I never intended to hurt Melina or you. It just happened." Porter added lamely, "It was just an affair. Don't blow it out of proportion." Merrick's fury seethed beneath a veneer of calm. "An affair is one thing. Stealing my money while planning to vanish with my brother, that's monstrous. And you roped Tate into forging property deals. Well done." He stepped back, letting them see the full scale of his contempt. "I want you both out of my house. Out of my life. I've already filed for divorce. Got an emergency hearing. Good luck with the criminal charges," Selena wailed. "Wait, we can negotiate?" He shook his head. "No negotiations. The police will have our evidence tomorrow morning. Unless you vanish tonight. But that won't stop the arrest warrants. And if you try to access any of my bank accounts or attempt forging more, it'll only deepen the hole you're in." Porter, cornered, snarled, "You set all this up, you bastard. This is entrapment. We'll get lawyers. Get them," Merrick retorted. "I have lawyers too, and more evidence than you can imagine. Good luck." Porter, in a last-ditch move, grabbed Merrick by the collar. "You ruined me. I'll... Merrick elbowed him away, sending Porter stumbling. Lay a finger on me again, see how fast the cops come. On the speaker, Mercy's voice. We have an officer a block away, Porter. Don't do anything stupid. Selena rose, tear-streaked. Merrick, please, for Melina's sake, let's handle this quietly. She doesn't deserve a scandal. He glared at her, the heartbreak raw in his eyes. You should have thought about Melina before you betrayed me. I intend to keep her life stable. But your name is about to be mud. If you truly love Melina, you'll spare her further drama and confess everything in court. She covered her face, sobbing uncontrollably. Porter, defeated, stormed out of the house in angry resignation. Selena lingered for a moment as if about to plead more, but Merrick just pointed to the door. Go! She left, stumbling in tears. Merrick stood alone in the living room, the proof of their betrayal swirling in his mind. The confrontation ended as quickly as it began. He felt no triumph, only a hollow sense that everything he once valued had been a lie. Amid the aftermath, Melina, drawn by the commotion, emerged from her room. Dad? I heard yelling. Mom left crying. Uncle Porter's car just sped off. What happened? Merrick's heart twisted. How do I explain? He swallowed. Sweetheart, there's a lot you don't know. Your mother and Porter have been dishonest. They tried to take advantage of me, financially and worse. He gently guided her to sit. I'm sorry you had to see some of that. Her eyes watered. I heard a affair? Are they? He nodded, lips tight. Yes, I'm afraid so. It's complicated. I wanted to protect you from this, but it's out in the open now. Tears spilled down her cheeks. But how could they? Mom and Uncle Porter, that's insane. She trembled. Dad, what's going to happen to us? He wrapped her in a hug. We'll be okay, Melina. I love you more than anything. We'll move forward, just the two of us. We're not alone. We have friends. We have Mercy. We have Grandpa. We have each other. She sobbed quietly against his shoulder. Despite his own heartbreak, he mustered every ounce of fatherly strength to comfort her. She needed him unwavering right now. Focus on her, not your rage. Within hours, the news spread among Merrick's close circle. Mercy, already aware, arrived to support father and daughter. She embraced Melina, whispering soothing words. I'm so sorry, kiddo. Your dad's a good man. He'll see you through this. Merrick made phone calls to his attorney friend, Mary, the lawyer recommended by Mercy, and to Sergeant Vale, clarifying the timeline for the formal charges. Vale confirmed they had enough to arrest Porter and Tate for fraud, likely by the next day, plus potential forgery charges against Selena. Meanwhile, a temporary restraining order would keep them away from Merrick's property. In the swirl of legalities, Merrick ensured Melina was spared the ugliest details. He asked Mercy to personally guard the house for a few days in case Porter or Selena tried any desperate moves. Night fell once more on the Harrison household, though now it was just father and daughter. The final piece of their old life had collapsed. Merrick looked upon the intangible wreckage with a bitter sense of closure. He sat in the living room, phone in hand, reading messages from concerned friends. Heard something weird about Selena, you okay? We love you and Melina, sending prayers. Porter's a jerk. Don't let him get away with it. He replied politely, but inside he was numb. Then a text from Tate's number appeared. This is not over. You'll regret messing with us. He showed Mercy, who just rolled her eyes. Typical intimidation. Vale will handle it. Merrick placed the phone aside. Let them threaten. He had all the power now. His plan had succeeded, the entire conspiracy was laid bare, and soon the law would do its part. He felt no triumph, only a grim sense that justice, once invoked, would grind them into dust. In these 4 chapters, Merrick's suspicions escalate from subtle cues to undeniable evidence. We see Mercy's covert stakeouts, the Glendale property fiasco, the final confrontation in Merrick's home, and the heartbreak as Melina discovers the betrayal. While Merrick emerges as the orchestrator of a carefully planned revenge demolition, the emotional cost is high for him, for Melina, and soon for the conspirators about to face criminal charges. The stage is set for Part 2, where legal battles, public exposure, deeper emotional fallout, and last-minute twists will shape the next phase of Merrick's cunning quest for justice. Chapter 5. The morning after that explosive confrontation, the Harrison household felt unnaturally quiet, yet tension simmered beneath the surface. Merrick awoke early, pacing the living room. He mentally rehearsed the conversation he expected with the police and the district attorney's office, anxious to ensure no procedural error undermined his evidence. By the staircase, Melina hovered silently, dressed in sweats, her expression hollowed by betrayal and exhaustion. "Dad, do I have to go to school?" she asked, voice timid. He paused, softening. "Today, let's keep you home. I'll call in and say it's a family emergency." He gently guided her to the kitchen, making her a mug of tea. "We'll figure this out." She gave a faint nod, her gaze drifting across the space where her mother used to cook breakfast cheerfully. Those memories felt tainted now. Merrick's phone buzzed, Selena calling. He almost ignored it but changed his mind, stepping into the adjoining office to answer. "What do you want?" Selena's voice, shaky. I need to speak with Melina. She must hate me. Please, Merrick, let me explain to her." He cut her off. "Explain what? That you cheated with her uncle and planned to steal my money? I think she knows enough." "Please," she pleaded. "We can't just sever everything. She's my daughter, too." He forced himself to remain calm. "You should have thought about that before you betrayed us. For now, I'm protecting her. When she's ready, she might reach out." "Not before." She inhaled sharply. "You can't keep her from me. Legally. Don't lecture me on legality," Merrick growled. "You're facing criminal charges. Good luck in court." He ended the call before she could respond. Turning back, he found Melina standing in the doorway, tears brimming. She had overheard part of it. "Dad, she's still my mom. I'm angry, but—" Her voice quavered. He sighed, pulling her into a hug. "I won't forbid you from seeing her, sweetheart, but please, wait until we settle the legal side. Right now. She's dangerous to our stability." Melina swallowed tears. "I understand." Later that morning, Mercy escorted Sergeant Vale to Merrick's home. Vale was a solidly built man with a calm yet firm demeanor. They spread out all the evidence, audio recordings, phone logs, Glendale property documents across the dining table. Mercy methodically recounted the stakeouts, the hidden phone, the confession from Porter and Selena. Vale's brows rose. "This is quite a trove," he said. "You realize, once we act, it'll be a public case. Fraud, forgery, conspiracy, possibly additional charges if we find more illicit ties to Tate." Merrick nodded. "I understand. I want them all held accountable. My only request is to keep Melina out of the spotlight." Vale pursed his lips. "We'll do what we can, but the press might latch on. The Glendale fiasco, real estate manipulations, it'll be juicy news. Are you prepared for that?" Merrick exhaled, glancing at Mercy, who offered a supportive nod. "I'll handle it. Just do your job thoroughly." Vale carefully bagged the physical evidence. I'll bring this to our legal department. We'll cross-check for probable cause and coordinate with the D. A. Expect arrests soon within days, maybe hours. As Vale left, Mercy stayed behind. Once this hits, Selena and Porter might lash out. Keep your guard up. If you need extra security, I can arrange it. Merrick's jaw tightened. I'm not afraid. But yes, keep an eye out. Melina appeared from the hall, eyes red but resolute. I heard bits. Are you having them arrested? Merrick's heart clenched at her pain. They committed crimes, sweetheart. This is the consequence. She blinked back tears. I get it. Doesn't make it hurt any less. He hugged her, wishing he could mend her shattered trust. But this was the path they had to walk now. That afternoon, Merrick's phone rang again, this time from a blocked number. He hesitated, then answered. Porter's voice came through, frantic. Merrick, I messed up, okay? But can we talk? I can fix it if we just call off the cops. Let's handle it as family. Merrick gave a humorless snort. Family? You destroyed that word the day you seduced my wife and plotted to steal my finances. Porter's tone turned pleading. Look, I was being stupid. I never wanted to hurt you. I just needed money, and Tate roped us into something bigger. I can't go to jail. Let me pay you back or something. I'll sign anything. Fury flared in Merrick's chest. You think you can buy your way out? After forging documents, laundering money, cheating with my wife? That's not how this works. A desperate edge crept into Porter's voice. We're brothers. You always took care of me when we were kids. Remember? Dad was never around. You were like my father figure. Don't do this, man. Merrick's hands shook. He dares bring up childhood? You repaid my care by stabbing me in the back. We're done. He ended the call, breathing heavily. He texted Mercy. Porter might try to negotiate. I told him no. She replied, Stay firm. He's flailing. They sensed the net closing in. That evening, Mercy informed Merrick that Tate had been arrested outside his fancy condo. Officers found additional forged deeds linking him to previous shady deals. The local news caught wind, reporting a prominent property developer indicted on suspicion of fraud. They didn't mention Merrick's name yet, but it was only a matter of time. Merrick felt a grim satisfaction. One piece of the puzzle taken out. Next would be Porter and Selena. He dreaded seeing Selena publicly disgraced, if only for how Melina might react. But it was unavoidable. He pinned his hopes on a swift legal resolution. Melina watched the local news coverage in silence. The anchor said, Police declined to comment on the identity of other suspects in the ring, but more arrests are expected. Melina shut the TV off, tears in her eyes. This is real, Dad, she whispered. Mom might go to jail. He gathered her into a comforting hold. She made her choices, sweetie. I'm sorry it's come to this, but it's out of our hands now. Late that same night, around 2 a.m., Merrick was awakened by a loud crash from downstairs. He jolted up, grabbing his phone and a small baton he kept for safety. Racing down the steps, he found the front door slightly ajar, lock forced. In the shadows, a figure rummaged near the desk. Without turning on the lights, Merrick approached quietly. As Merrick switched on a lamp, he saw Porter, sweaty and frantic, rifling through drawers. Their eyes locked. Porter froze like a cornered animal. I needed to get some docs, he stammered. Something that could clear me. Rage surged in Merrick. You broke into my home? Melina's upstairs sleeping. Porter's eyes darted. I'm sorry. If I can find certain files, I can prove Tate forced me into forging. Cut the lies, Merrick growled. You were forging everything with Selena. You can't pin it all on Tate. Porter lunged for the living room door, trying to flee. Merrick blocked him, baton raised. Stay put. The cops are on their way. Just then, a shrill voice. Dad? Melina stood at the top of the stairs, eyes wide with alarm. Seeing Uncle Porter, she gasped. What? Go back to your room, Melina, Merrick ordered firmly. She hesitated, tears brimming, then complied, retreating out of sight. Porter's expression flashed shame. Look what you're doing to her! She's terrified! Merrick's voice shook with anger. You did this, Porter. You broke in at 2 a.m. rummaging for evidence. Or were you hoping to destroy incriminating files? Porter tried to sidle toward the door again. You can't keep me here! He made a break for it, but Merrick tackled him, adrenaline pumping. They struggled, crashing into furniture. The baton clattered away, but Merrick's fury fueled him. He pinned Porter down. You're done. Sirens wailed outside, lights flashing across the front windows. Mercy had alerted Sergeant Vale about possible retaliation attempts, so the police response was swift. Officers burst in, guns drawn, shouting, Freeze! Merrick raised his hands, stepping back. Porter lay panting on the floor, arms raised. Vale recognized Merrick, quickly surmising the situation. Porter Sterling, you're under arrest for breaking and entering, plus the pending fraud charges. Porter whimpered. It's not he set me up. They cuffed him, ignoring his protests. Vale gave Merrick a grim nod. You okay? Merrick exhaled, nodding. Just a few bruises. He tried to destroy evidence. As officers led Porter away, Merrick caught a final glimpse of raw hatred in his brother's eyes. Then the door slammed shut, leaving a chaos of overturned furniture. Melina peeked down again, trembling. Merrick went to her, holding her tight as tears fell freely. It's over, he whispered. He's gone. She sobbed. Why did Uncle Porter do that? Greed? Desperation? He stroked her hair, feeling the weight of heartbreak. I wish it weren't so, Melina. But we'll get through this. One of the officers, finishing a quick look around, approached Merrick. We found this note in his car. He handed Merrick a crumpled slip of paper that read, Selena says she can shift blame to Tate. Need that folder or we're both doomed. Merrick's jaw clenched. So Selena was still scheming behind the scenes, even after Tate's arrest. He thanked the officer, heart heavy. She's trying to salvage herself by pinning everything on Tate. But it wouldn't work. The evidence was damning. 2 days later, Selena was picked up by police. At her new office, a borrowed conference room from a colleague who hadn't realized the extent of her crimes. The local news cameras caught footage of her in handcuffs, eyes full of panic. The headlines blared, Realtor arrested in alleged forgery scheme linked to developer's fraud. Merrick watched from home, Melina seated beside him, silently hugging her knees. The girl shook her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. I can't believe it's ended like this. Merrick rubbed her back. It's harsh, but hopefully truth is better than living in lies. She sniffed. Maybe, but it still hurts so bad. Mercy arrived an hour later, giving Melina a gentle pat on the shoulder. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Then turning to Merrick. Between Porter's break-in and Selena's arrest, the final stage is set. The DA wants your official statement. Merrick nodded, bracing himself. I'll do it. Let's finalize everything so we can move on. That evening, Merrick met with Mary, the specialized attorney. They worked through affidavits, detailing each instance of fraud, each hidden phone record, each deposit mismatch. Mary was thorough, ensuring no potential loophole. By midnight, Merrick emerged from her office exhausted but resolute. He phoned Melina, who was staying the night at Mercy's place to avoid media hounding. How are you holding up, kiddo? Her voice was small. I'm with Mercy, Watching silly comedies, trying not to think about tomorrow. Get some rest. We'll face tomorrow together, Merrick said, injecting as much fatherly warmth as he could muster. The next morning, a preliminary hearing took place for Selena and Porter, with Tate in a separate hearing. Melina insisted on accompanying Merrick, though Mary had advised it might be emotionally taxing. She wanted closure, so he reluctantly agreed. In the courthouse corridor, they encountered a swarm of reporters, cameras flashing. Merrick shielded Melina from intrusive questions. "No comment," he repeated, ignoring the shouts about infidelity and financial conspiracy. Inside the packed courtroom, Porter stood in orange jumpsuit, looking sullen and disheveled. Selena, also in custody attire, appeared hollow, eyes puffy from crying. They glanced at Merrick and Melina with haunted expressions. The judge opened proceedings, stating the charges: conspiracy to commit fraud, forgery, attempted theft by deception, with mention of potential money laundering pending further investigation. Selena's lawyer attempted to paint her as a victim of Tate's manipulation. Porter's public defender claimed he was coerced, citing Tate's criminal ties. Mary presented Merrick's side, calmly laying out evidence, audio recordings, phone logs, witness statements. The judge's expression grew grim. When Mary played a short excerpt of Glendale audio, Porter looked away in shame. Selena choked back a sob, eyes darting to Melina. During a brief recess, Melina unexpectedly approached the stand, requesting to speak. Mary hesitated, but allowed it. Melina had something to say. The judge permitted a short statement, as she wasn't a direct witness to the forgeries, but her emotional perspective could weigh on sentencing for familial betrayal. Voice trembling, Melina declared, "I love my mom, and I cared about my uncle, but they betrayed my dad. They nearly destroyed our family. I just want justice, and I want them to know how badly they hurt me." Tears streamed as she locked eyes with Selena. "Mom, you said you loved me. How could you do this to Dad, to us?" Selena broke down, sobbing. "Melina, I'm so sorry, baby. She couldn't finish, her lawyer gently pulling her back to her seat. The judge allowed the heartfelt plea to stand, then signaled the hearing would proceed. The short emotional interlude underscored the human cost of these crimes, swaying public opinion in Merrick's favor. After the judge ruled sufficient evidence existed for a full trial, the defendants were led away in cuffs, bail set prohibitively high. Reporters thronged outside, snapping photos of the tearful Selena and the snarling Porter. Merrick, guiding Melina, managed to exit a side door with Mercy's help, avoiding most cameras. The father-daughter pair retreated to Mercy's car, heading away from the courthouse frenzy. Melina stared out the window. "Dad, is this final? Mom's going to jail? Uncle Porter too?" He sighed, rubbing his temple. "Not necessarily final. They might get plea deals or a trial, but yes, they'll face some prison time or major penalties. Our family will never be the same." She sniffed, dashing tears. "At least we have each other?" He nodded, overcome with a bittersweet relief that Melina recognized his unwavering love. "We do, sweetheart. We'll rebuild. This is a new start." Chapter 6. In the days following the preliminary hearing, local media ran rampant with sensational headlines. Architect's wife and brother in brazen fraud plot. Gossip columns feasted on the scandal's salacious side: infidelity, family betrayal, and criminal conspiracy. At Merrick's architectural firm, colleagues offered sympathetic words, though some worried about negative publicity. Clients asked awkward questions. Melina, returning to school, faced whispers and stares. She confided in Merrick that she overheard classmates saying, "Her mom's a thief, hooking up with her own brother-in-law." The rumors twisted the facts, some even suggesting Melina might be the brother's daughter. She came home sobbing, outraged at how twisted gossip had become. Though Merrick never doubted Melina was his daughter, the vicious rumor struck a nerve. One evening, Mercy quietly asked, "Are you sure you want to confirm parentage? The rumors are ugly." Merrick shook his head. "Melina is mine, no question. Selena's affair with Porter supposedly started a year ago, but if it sets Melina's mind at ease, we can do a paternity test to silence the speculation. She's free from that suspicion." He approached Melina with the idea. Initially, she looked stunned, then resolved. "Yes, Dad. Let's do it. I want no doubt." They arranged a discreet test, results expected in a week. Meanwhile, Mercy relayed intel. Tate was attempting a plea bargain, offering to turn over records on Selena and Porter's roles. The DA considered it. If Tate flipped on them fully, the prosecution's case would strengthen. This might reduce Tate's sentence, but it spelled doom for Selena and Porter if they hoped for leniency. Merrick felt conflicting emotions. "I want them fully punished, but I also want it over quickly. If Tate's testimony wraps the case, so be it." Mary, the lawyer, agreed. A plea deal from Tate means a shorter trial. They'll be found guilty faster. Possibly a few years behind bars or a hefty restitution. Your finances can be restored with damage claims. Merrick nodded. "Let's proceed. I just want closure." Despite the chaos, Merrick persisted in his architectural work. Designing the cultural center gave him an anchor. Focus on creation, not just destruction, he reminded himself. He took Melina on site visits, explaining design principles, letting her see a future not marred by betrayal. Slowly she brightened, discussing her own artistic ambitions. They found comfort in each other's presence, forging a deeper father-daughter bond. Even Mercy noted the change. "You two seem closer than ever. That's a silver lining." Merrick smiled sadly. "Yes, if anything good came from this, it's understanding that family is who stays loyal." One afternoon, Merrick received an unexpected letter from the county jail. "Selena Harrison requests you visit." He hesitated, showing the letter to Mercy. "Should I go?" Mercy shrugged. "Could be a trap. Or maybe she's desperate wanting forgiveness, but you hold all the cards." He debated, eventually deciding to see her once, if only to finalize emotional loose ends. He didn't tell Melina, not wanting to upset her further. At the jail's visitation area, Selena appeared in an orange jumpsuit, looking haggard and teary-eyed. "Merrick," she whispered through the plexiglass phone, "thank you for coming." He stiffened. "Say what you must. I won't stay long." She swallowed, eyes downcast. "I know I can't undo what I did. I was blinded by greed, lured by Porter's promises. We thought we'd strike it big. Escape, I was so tired of your perfect architecture life." Feeling overshadowed. "That's no excuse. I realize it's monstrous." Merrick's jaw tightened. "That's an interesting perspective overshadowed. Did you ever consider talking to me like a partner instead of stabbing me in the back?" Tears dripped down her cheeks. "I was weak, resentful. Then the affair, I can't begin to justify it. I'm sorry. I beg you. Don't keep Melina from me." He exhaled, wrestling conflicting emotions. "Your relationship with her depends on her choice. I won't forbid contact forever, but right now she's traumatized." He lowered his voice. "Selena, part of me still can't believe you stooped to forging my name. That's so calculated." She sobbed, nodding. "I deserve punishment. But could you ask your lawyer to push for a plea deal? If I confess, maybe I get reduced time. I just want a chance to rebuild with Melina one day." Merrick's lips curled in a bitter smile. "You should talk to your own lawyer, not me. This is out of my hands. The DA sees you as a key conspirator." Maybe if you fully cooperate, you can salvage a fraction of your life." She clutched the phone, eyes desperate. "Will you at least not oppose it if I do that?" He sighed, pity stirring in him despite everything. "I won't stand in the way of truth. If you're sincere, come clean. That's all I can offer. Don't expect me to welcome you back." A guard signaled time was up. Selena pressed a shaky palm to the glass. "Tell Melina I love her." "Please." He stood, ending the call. "Goodbye, Selena." After the jail visit, Mercy informed Merrick of a startling development. Porter, in custody, tried to pin everything on Selena. However, forensic accountants discovered a deeper money laundering chain linked to some dangerous criminal elements. "It appears Porter's bar scheme was part of a bigger network," Mercy explained. "He was in over his head. This goes beyond a mere family fraud. The DA's office is expanding the investigation." Merrick frowned. "That means higher charges, bigger mess. Are you sure Melina is safe from any retribution?" Mercy nodded. "Yes, law enforcement is aware. They'll keep an eye out. Tate's already cooperating, possibly naming other criminals. This might ironically lessen Porter and Selena's relative blame for the bigger ring, but it ensures they face prison. The involvement of real criminals cements that they've broken serious laws." A week after the meltdown, the paternity test results arrived in a sealed envelope. Melina and Merrick opened it together in the kitchen. Their hearts pounded with tension. She squeezed his hand, face pale. Reading the lines, relief flooded them. "Probability of paternity 99. 99999%. Tears sprang to Melina's eyes, half laughing, half sobbing. "I never truly doubted. But you know, rumors." She hugged him fiercely. "I'm your daughter, always." He pressed a kiss to her temple, voice thick with emotion. "You've always been mine, Melina. Don't let anyone tarnish that." In the swirl of chaos, at least this revelation reaffirmed their bond beyond question. As the summer rolled on, the DA finalized a plea deal with Tate. He'd testify comprehensively about property forgeries, naming both Selena and Porter as willing co-conspirators. In exchange, Tate might get a reduced sentence of 35 years. Without a trial's theatrics, the court scheduled final sentencing hearings for Selena and Porter. Mary briefed Merrick. They might also plead guilty to avoid a messy trial. The judge has wide latitude in sentencing, from probation up to a decade in prison, considering the forgery and laundering angles. Likely multiple years behind bars unless they show contrition. Merrick nodded stoically. "They deserve it. Just keep Melina from having to attend if possible. She's suffered enough." Mary agreed. "We can handle that." Days before the sentencing, Merrick received a request. Porter wanted to see him at the county jail. One last time. Merrick debated, ultimately deciding closure was needed. Mercy accompanied him for security, waiting outside while he stepped into the visitation booth. Porter, wearing prison garb, looked haggard, eyes sunken. He started talking immediately, voice trembling with pent-up anger and regret. "You destroyed me, bro. I was stupid, sure, but you orchestrated it all. You humiliated me in front of the entire city. I'm facing real prison time." Merrick's expression remained impassive. "You did that to yourself. I just exposed it." Porter sneered. "God, you're so righteous. From childhood, you were the golden boy, Dad's favorite, the successful architect. I was always second best. I wanted to outdo you for once." A pang of old sibling guilt stirred in Merrick, but he pushed it aside, remembering Porter's betrayal. "So you targeted me, tried to steal my money, ruin my marriage." Porter's eyes flared. "I didn't plan to ruin your marriage. The affair, it just happened. Selena was resentful, I was resentful. We found comfort." He swallowed. It was wrong. I know. Silence stretched. Then Merrick said quietly, I'm not here to gloat. I came to say I hope you learn something in prison. That you realize greed and betrayal only end in destruction. Porter's voice wavered with bitterness. Easy for you to say. You'll keep your fancy house, your daughter, your career. I lose everything. Merrick's eyes hardened. You had my trust, and you squandered it. That's your burden. He rose. Goodbye, Porter. I truly hope you find remorse, but I won't hold my breath. Porter slumped, tears lining his face, as Merrick walked away. Mercy, waiting in the lobby, took his arm gently, noting the sadness etched in his features. Let's go, he murmured. I'm done. Chapter 7. Late August brought the final sentencing hearing. Media thronged the courthouse steps, cameras flashing. Merrick arrived with Mary, and Mercy joined for moral support. Melina, after much deliberation, chose to stay home, not wanting to see her mother and uncle paraded in shackles. Inside the courtroom, Selena and Porter sat with their respective defense attorneys. Their expressions ranged from grim to haunted. As the proceedings began, the DA outlined the charges: fraud, forgery, attempted theft by deception, conspiracy to launder funds. Tate had already been sentenced a week prior to 4 years under his plea deal, confirming major details. Now, the judge considered Selena and Porter's guilt and sentencing. One by one, attorneys made final statements. Selena's lawyer tearfully described her as a misguided spouse, manipulated by men around her. Porter's lawyer painted him as an insecure younger brother, overshadowed by a successful sibling, coerced by bigger criminals. The prosecution rebutted with evidence of their active voluntary roles. When allowed to speak, Selena rose, voice quivering. I can't undo my betrayal of Merrick and our daughter. I was lost, resentful, and I made terrible choices. I ask for the court's mercy. If I serve time, I accept it, but I hope one day to rebuild some kind of relationship with my child. Porter, given a chance to speak, glared at Merrick. I was an idiot, yes, but not the mastermind. We never intended to hurt Melina. I regret it all. He seemed less remorseful and more desperate, though. The judge frowned sternly, referencing the overwhelming evidence, then, in a measured tone, delivered sentencing. Selena, 3 years in state prison followed by probation. Porter, 5 years, citing his break-in attempt and prior record of small-time fraud. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Selena collapsed into quiet sobs. Porter cursed under his breath, and Merrick felt a mix of relief and sorrow. They had hammered in the final nail. As guards led the convicts away, Selena gave Merrick one last tearful glance. He offered no response. News outlets went wild. Real estate conspirators sentenced. Everyone gossiped about the sensational betrayal within the Harrison family. Despite the painful glare of publicity, Merrick tried to shield Melina. He asked her school counselor to help manage any bullying. Mercy monitored online chatter, dispelling rumors about Melina's parentage. The paternity test results quietly circulated among friends to silence doubters. At the office, Merrick's colleagues expressed unanimous support. The firm's leadership told him to take time off if needed, but he chose to stay busy. Designing kept him grounded, focusing on constructive endeavors in the face of personal devastation. Melina faced tears and nightmares, missing the mother she once adored, struggling with her uncle's betrayal. But therapy sessions helped. Mercy provided emotional support, occasionally joining father and daughter for dinners, fostering a sense of extended family. Meanwhile, Mary filed civil suits against Porter and Selena to recover Merrick's lost funds. Though insurance might cover some, Mary insisted a portion of their future wages, once out of prison, should go to Merrick as restitution. Tate, cooperating with authorities, also owed restitution. The combined payouts might eventually reimburse Merrick fully, though it'd take years. One afternoon, Mary updated Merrick. The court approved garnishment orders. Once they're released, any legal income they earn will partially go to you. It's not immediate, but it's something. Merrick sighed. They took more than money, but maybe it's symbolic. They can't just walk away unscathed. Mary nodded. Exactly, and any attempts to hide income or skip payments will violate their parole. 3 months after sentencing, Merrick received a letter from Selena's prison. In neat handwriting, she begged for a supervised phone call with Melina. I know I have no right to ask, but she's still my daughter, the letter read. She claimed she'd do anything to regain a shred of Melina's trust. Merrick wrestled with the decision. He didn't want to traumatize Melina more, yet he believed a teenager had the right to choose. That evening, he gently asked her, Melina, your mom wrote, requesting a phone call. It's entirely your choice. Melina bit her lip, tears welling. I hate what she did, but she's still my mother. Maybe I'll talk to her, but only if I can hang up anytime I want. He nodded. Absolutely. We can do it on speaker if you prefer, or privately if that feels better. She chose speaker for transparency, scheduling a specific time. Mercy recommended a counselor be present or on standby, but Melina just wanted her dad. So they set it up in the living room, an emotional but inconclusive call. When the call connected, Selena's voice trembled with emotion. Hi, baby. I'm so sorry I missed you. Melina, tears slipping, managed a shaky mom. Selena tried to explain. I was foolish, chasing illusions of wealth and excitement. I never stopped loving you. Please believe that. Melina listened, crying softly. You broke our family. Why? We were fine. Dad gave us everything. Selena sobbed, apologizing repeatedly, blaming her own envy, her misguided affair. She claimed the forging started with small deceptions that spiraled out of control. I never wanted to lose you. Melina's voice cracked. But you did lose me, Mom. I can't trust you now. Maybe someday we can talk again, but I'm not ready to forgive. Selena wailed. I'll wait, however long it takes. I love you. Melina ended the call, burying her face in her dad's shoulder. He stroked her hair, offering silent comfort. The call left them emotionally drained, but gave Melina some closure. Her mother's remorse was real, yet insufficient to mend the chasm. Winter approached. The media frenzy died down, replaced by new headlines. Porter's and Selena's legal dramas had concluded. Merrick found solace in finishing the Cultural Center project, which broke ground in December. Melina found new confidence applying to colleges for art and design. Mercy, too, moved on to other investigative clients, though she remained a close friend. Over coffee at Merrick's place, she commented, You handled this storm with remarkable strength. He gave a bittersweet smile. I had help, and I had a reason, Melina, to keep it together. Now we're focusing on building a stable life. One day, a small package arrived. Inside was a simple hand-sketched blueprint of a modest home, labeled Design for a Future from the misguided mom. No signature, but Merrick recognized Selena's style from her attempts at drafting. Possibly a quiet peace offering. He showed it to Melina, who stared at it, tears brimming. Maybe she's truly sorry, he exhaled. Sorrow doesn't erase what she did, but if it helps you heal, hold on to it. Or don't. Melina tucked it in a box, saying she'd decide later what to do with it. The ghost of betrayal lingered, but time and slow acceptance seemed to be forging a path forward. By the end of the year, Merrick and Melina settled into a new normal. No longer haunted daily by fresh drama, they allowed themselves to breathe. The house, once full of illusions, now felt lighter. Rooms were repainted, photographs of Selena stored away, except for a few Melina kept for memories. Merrick found a certain catharsis in reorganizing the living space. He built new shelves in the living room, displaying architectural models next to Melina's artistic creations. A blend of father-daughter synergy, a testament that life goes on after catastrophe. One Saturday, father and daughter stood on their back patio, gazing at a newly installed garden fountain, something Melina had asked for a small but symbolic piece of serenity. "It's beautiful," she said softly, "like water washing away the past." He slipped an arm around her. "I'm proud of how you've handled this. You're strong, kiddo." She leaned on him. "I have a good example to follow." She hesitated, then added, "I forgave Mom a little in my heart, though I can't forget. Maybe one day we can talk again in the far future. But I'm done letting the past poison me." He smiled, tears moistening his eyes. "That's wise, Melina. I'm here for you every step." Though justice had been served, Merrick knew the scars remained. Selena and Porter would eventually be released from prison, possibly seeking redemption or stirring old wounds. Tate might re-emerge, a free man sooner than them, but discredited. The scandal might flare again. Yet Merrick felt prepared. He'd learned to trust his instincts, gather facts, and never ignore cracks in the foundation. He was also open to new connections. Mercy teased him about dating again one day, but he wasn't rushing. Rebuilding trust would take time. For now, his focus was fatherhood and architecture. That night, as he reread old diaries and looked at photos from a happier time, he didn't feel bitterness, only acceptance. His grand revenge had been thorough, demolishing their lives with the same meticulous skill he used in building. The outcome? A costly lesson, but also a testament to unwavering resolve. The house was quiet, a peaceful hush far removed from the fights and betrayals of months past. In this calm, Merrick reflected on the nature of creation versus destruction. Architecture taught him that sometimes you must tear down a dilapidated structure to erect something stronger in its place. He had torn down illusions, exposing the rot beneath. Now he and Melina were free to rebuild an honest life. Chapter 8. A year passed since the sentencing. Autumn leaves rustled in vibrant shades of gold and red. The cultural center Merrick designed approached completion. On opening day, local officials invited him to cut the ribbon, acknowledging his creative brilliance. Cameras flashed as Merrick stood, smiling, Melina at his side. She'd blossomed into a confident young adult entering her first year of a pre-college art program. In the crowd, Mercy and Mary waved encouragingly, both proud to see Merrick thriving post-scandal. The mayor gave a short speech, praising the center as a beacon of community unity. Merrick, stepping up to the microphone, felt a pang of memory. Once, he believed unity thrived in his own household. Now he knew illusions can be shattered. Still, he championed positivity. Creating spaces like this is about hope. No matter what we lose, we can build anew. Thank you all for believing in this project. The applause thundered. As he stepped down, Merrick spotted a figure at the edge of the crowd, a woman with dark glasses, quickly turning away. For a moment, he thought it resembled Selena. That's impossible. She should still be behind bars, perhaps a doppelganger or an associate. The moment passed. He told himself it was imagination. After the ceremony, Mercy approached, congratulating him. "Spectacular design, Merrick! Proud of you!" He smiled. "Couldn't have done it without your support." Melina joined them, face glowing. "Dad, the acoustics inside are amazing for performing arts. This is so cool." That evening, Merrick and Melina returned home, pleasantly exhausted. Melina went to her room to finish an art piece, while Merrick brewed a cup of tea. In the mail pile, he found a letter from the state correctional facility addressed to him from Porter. He stared at it, heart skipping. He debated throwing it away, but finally opened it. Porter's handwriting was hurried, contrite. Merrick, I have a year left on my sentence if I get parole. I know I've no right to ask forgiveness. But I found God or something in here reevaluating my life. I wanted to say I'm sorry. If you ever find it in your heart, maybe one day I can at least apologize face to face. If not, I understand. Merrick breathed out shakily. The letter ended with a vague hope to speak someday. No mention of Selena or money. He felt no immediate desire to respond. Perhaps in the distant future, closure might come. For now, he set the letter aside with a quiet sigh. In mid-October, Melina presented her first public art exhibit at a local youth gallery. The piece was a collage titled Foundations, blending architectural elements with personal items, photos of father-daughter moments, a silhouette that hinted at maternal absence. The collage's bottom corner featured a crumpled outline of old Glendale property deeds, clearly referencing the scandal. People who viewed it sensed a powerful story of betrayal and resilience. Merrick, watching from across the gallery, felt tears prick his eyes. My girl turned our tragedy into art. She had found her own path to healing. Mercy, also present, whispered, She's amazing. Be proud. He nodded, emotional. I truly am. Later, Melina told him quietly, I made it to show how you built a safe foundation for me after everything. The piece ends with bright colors, symbolizing hope. He wrapped her in a hug, voice thick. You're my biggest accomplishment, kiddo. Months rolled by. Porter remained in prison, occasionally sending letters of regret. Selena served her time in a facility upstate, rumored to be cooperating with authorities to root out more real estate fraud. Neither posed an immediate threat. Tate, out on parole, kept low, rumored to have left the state. The scandal's memory faded in the public eye, though it lived on in Merrick's heart as a cautionary tale. Melina excelled in her art program, occasionally dropping by Merrick's architecture firm to intern, merging her creative flair with his technical discipline. They formed an unstoppable father-daughter duo, planning collaborative projects. The cultural center thrived, hosting art shows, music recitals, community gatherings, each event a testament to Merrick's belief in building for the greater good. One day, a letter arrived from a parole board official. They were reviewing Selena's case for possible early release. She had good behavior, seeking a chance to rehabilitate. The official asked Merrick for a statement, as the primary victim, whether he objected. He sat with the letter for hours, conflicted. Finally, he wrote a concise response. I harbor no illusions about her wrongdoing. However, if she's truly rehabilitated and the law sees fit, I won't oppose early release. Yet my stance on personal reconciliation remains the same, Melina's choice. He sealed the letter, feeling a swirl of emotions. The betrayal was behind him now. If Selena truly found remorse, so be it. He wouldn't stand in the way. He had no desire for endless vengeance. His final revenge was living well, finding peace, and letting them bear the consequences of their own actions. After mailing the letter, Mercy dropped by his office, uncharacteristically shy. She admitted a personal detail. I've always cared about you, Merrick, maybe more than just a friend. But you were married, so I stayed silent. Now you're free. I'm not pushing anything, but I wanted you to know. Merrick looked at her, surprise and warmth mixing. Mercy, you were my rock through all this. Let's take it slow. See if something deeper grows. I'm open to possibilities. She smiled, eyes shining with cautious hope. Slow is good. We've both got scars. They left it at that. a gentle shift from mere friendship to a potential for companionship, building from mutual respect and honesty, the antithesis of what he'd endured with Selena. In these 4 chapters, Merrick's methodical plan to expose Selena and Porter unfolds fully, culminating in their arrests and sentencing. The emotional fallout hits Melina hard, but she emerges stronger, channeling her grief into art. Merrick, though deeply wounded, stands firm, guarding his daughter and embracing new beginnings in design and personal life. While Betrayal left scars, father and daughter refuse to let them define their future. With criminals behind bars and the scandal fading, Part 2 ends on a note of cautious optimism. Life can be rebuilt on a foundation of truth, creativity, and genuine connection. Chapter 9. A year has passed since Selena and Porter were sentenced. Summer sunlight poured into Merrick's renovated living room, where new furnishings and calm, neutral colors replaced the memories of turmoil. The koi pond in the backyard burbled quietly, a symbol of renewal he and Melina had nurtured together. Melina, now approaching her high school graduation, stood at the glass doors examining the fish with an artist's eye, her sketchbook tucked under one arm. She was taller, more self-assured, and the distant sadness in her eyes had mostly given way to calm determination. "Dad," she called back into the house, "the koi pond is missing that aquatic plant you mentioned. Did the nursery ever get it in stock?" Merrick emerged from the kitchen, drying his hands on a towel. "They said next week. We'll pick it up then." He gave her a warm grin. Seeing her growing confidence always lifted his spirits. "Ready for school?" She nodded, slipping her sketchbook into her backpack. "I need a final push for those design scholarships. My portfolio's almost done." He set a gentle hand on her shoulder. "I'm proud of you, kiddo. Truly." Melina returned the smile. They had come a long way from the heartbreak. A year might not have erased all wounds, but it had forged a stronger bond. Mercy had become a frequent presence. Over months of tentative coffee dates and shared dinners, she and Merrick gently progressed from close friendship to a soft, budding romance. In the evenings, she'd sometimes join them for a movie or chat about architecture and investigations. Though they hadn't labeled themselves an official couple, the affectionate glances said enough. One afternoon, Mercy tapped Merrick's shoulder while he hunched over architectural blueprints for a new cultural annex. "It's Saturday," she reminded him, "and you promised me lunch away from your drafting table." He straightened, chuckling. "Ah, I did. Let's go." A teasing glint sparkled in his eyes. "If we wait any longer, you'll probably haul me out of here by force." Mercy smirked. "You got that right. I can't let you hide in architect mode forever." They drove to a riverside cafe, savoring a tranquil lunch overlooking gentle waters. Soft conversation meandered between everyday updates and reflections on how far Merrick and Melina had come. Mercy sipped iced tea, eventually turning serious. "Ever think about the future? Where we might end up?" He paused, gaze drifting to the river's slow current. "Sometimes, but I'm cautious. So much changed so fast last year. I value what we have, though, more than you know." Her warm smile reached her eyes. "That's enough for now." A few days later, Mary brought news that Selena had a parole hearing scheduled soon. "She's applying for early release on good behavior. The board asked for any victim impact statements from you or Melina," Mary explained in Merrick's study. "Her time served so far is about a year and some months. Not that long, but apparently she's cooperated with ongoing investigations." Merrick frowned, tension coiling in his gut. "I'm not out for endless revenge, but do we trust she's truly reformed? That was some serious betrayal." Mary shrugged sympathetically. "Hard to say. The board will weigh everything. They asked if you'd like to attend or send a written statement." He exhaled slowly. "I'll consult Melina." If she wants me to oppose parole, I might do so. But if she's neutral, maybe we just let justice proceed." In their living room that evening, Merrick gently explained to Melina about the parole hearing. She looked unsettled, hugging a throw pillow. "So soon? She might get out?" He nodded. "We can object or remain silent. It's your call, too, but we can't fully control the outcome." Melina mulled over it, tears brightening her eyes. "I hate what she did, but part of me can't help worrying about her. If she's truly changed, maybe she deserves a chance. Then again, I'm scared of reliving old wounds." Merrick ruffled her hair lightly, though she was almost grown. "I get it, sweetie. No rush, think on it." Parallel to Selina's parole hearing, Merrick got wind that Porter was denied parole. He remained in prison, apparently struggling with anger management. Sergeant Vale confirmed that Porter's behavior inside was erratic, and attempts at repentance seemed half-hearted. One day, an envelope arrived with Porter's handwriting. Merrick almost tossed it, but curiosity won. Inside was a disjointed message. "You're living it up while I rot. Great job, Merrick. I thought about us as kids, how you always overshadowed me, making me feel small. Maybe I deserve punishment, but not like this. I hope you're happy." Merrick quietly tore the letter in half, disposing of it without response. There was no point in gauging Porter's bitterness. He refused to let that negativity pull him back into darkness. A twist came when Selina's sister Andrea reached out to Merrick. Though estranged from Selina for some time, Andrea had heard about the sentencing. She politely requested a meeting, claiming she wanted to help make amends on Selina's behalf and possibly reconnect with Melina. At a neutral coffee shop, Merrick met Andrea. She was older than Selina by a few years, a nurse in another county. Andrea offered him a letter that Selina had mailed to her, describing remorse and therapy sessions in prison. "She's apparently found religion," Andrea said softly. "She begs me to speak to you about letting her see Melina if parole is granted." Merrick studied Andrea's earnest face, reminiscent of Selina, but kinder. He sighed. "I appreciate your position, but it's not that simple. Melina's well-being comes first." Andrea nodded. "Of course. I remember Selina's good side, before everything twisted. Maybe she can reclaim that." He rubbed his temple. "We'll see how the hearing goes." Andrea left with a small thanks, and Merrick felt a swirl of complicated emotions. Could Selina truly reclaim goodness? Or was it more manipulation? The parole date neared. Melina grew quiet, torn between anger and longing for maternal closure. Late one evening, Mercy found Merrick hunched over a blueprint with a scowl. "You okay?" "You're murdering that drawing," she quipped gently. He set down his pencil, rubbing tired eyes. "Just thinking about Selina's hearing. If she's released, do we let her see Melina? What if that stirs more drama?" Mercy took his hand. "You can't shield Melina from every emotional risk. She's nearly an adult. Sometimes closure demands facing the person who hurt you. The difference is now you're prepared, with boundaries." He pulled her hand to his lips in a grateful gesture. "Boundaries, yes. Thank you for the reminder." The day of Selina's parole hearing dawned. Merrick and Melina decided to attend to observe, uncertain if they'd speak. The hearing took place in a small hearing room at the correctional facility, separate from a full court. A parole board of 3 members sat at a long table. Selina, wearing standard prison attire, sat at a smaller desk with her assigned counselor. Melina clutched Merrick's arm when they spotted her mother. Selina looked thinner, hair pulled back neatly, eyes subdued. She glanced at them with a mixture of hope and guilt. The hearing began with formalities, reviewing her record, her cooperation in exposing Tate's broader real estate crimes. The counselor testified that Selena engaged in therapy, overcame denial, and demonstrated consistent good behavior. Then, Selena was allowed to speak. She turned toward the board, voice trembling. "I betrayed my husband and daughter for greed and excitement. Prison forced me to confront my choices. I deeply regret them. I don't claim to be fixed overnight, but I'm committed to living honestly if given a second chance." A board member asked if Selena had reconciled with her victims. She cast a pleading glance at Merrick and Melina. "I've apologized, but I know it's not enough. I hope to prove myself worthy of some small relationship with Melina someday." The board turned to Merrick. "Mr. Harrison, do you wish to speak?" Merrick rose slowly, heart pounding. He glanced at Melina, who nodded slightly, giving permission. He addressed the board, voice steady but tight with emotion. "Selena's betrayal nearly destroyed my family, yet my daughter, she wonders if her mother can change. I won't oppose parole if the professionals believe she's genuinely rehabilitated, but I ask for strict supervision. My priority is protecting Melina." Selena's eyes brimmed with tears, mouthing, "Thank you." Melina stood too, surprising them. Her voice quavered. "I'm still hurt, but I also want my mom to heal. If she's released, she should keep distance until we're ready to talk. Dad's done so much to shield me. I trust his judgment. That's all." The board conferred briefly. Then the lead member announced their preliminary decision. "We find grounds to grant parole under strict conditions. Continued therapy, mandatory check-ins, prohibition from certain financial dealings. The release date is set for next month." Selena exhaled in relief, tears streaming. Merrick put an arm around Melina's shoulders. Neither father nor daughter smiled, but they felt an odd sense of finality. Outside, in the prison parking lot, Melina broke down sobbing. Merrick held her, stroking her hair. "It's okay. We'll handle it step by step." She sniffled. "I guess I'm relieved she's not rotting in there forever, but I'm terrified of seeing her too soon." "That's normal," Mercy chimed in, her presence reassuring. "You control the timing and conditions. The parole conditions say Selena can't contact you without your permission." Melina nodded, wiping tears. "Then maybe I can breathe easier." Merrick felt an intense wave of gratitude for Mercy's steadfastness. He turned to her. "Thank you for always being here." She gave his shoulder a squeeze, a gentle smile on her lips. "That's what we do for each other." Chapter 10. A month later, Selena quietly walked out of the correctional facility, wearing plain clothes provided by a transitional program. Andrea, her sister, picked her up. Cameras weren't around this time. The media had moved on. Selena's eyes were a mix of apprehension and yearning. She was free, but not truly. Parole conditions bound her choices. Her first priority was finding stable housing, as she couldn't contact Merrick or Melina directly without permission. She rented a small efficiency apartment in a modest neighborhood. Andrea helped her get a part-time job at a local diner, ironically echoing some rumors. For Selena, it was humbling, but also a chance to prove she could earn a living honestly. Despite instructions not to approach Melina directly, Selena struggled with longing to see her daughter. She decided to craft a letter, handwritten, sincere, explaining her daily routine, therapy sessions, regrets. She left the letter with Mary's office, hoping Mary would pass it on. Mary informed Merrick and Melina about it. Melina read the letter in private. Her expression was conflicted. "She sounds genuine, Dad. She says she'll wait as long as it takes. She's working at a diner, going to group therapy for addiction to easy money or something. Should I respond?" Merrick's heart ached for his daughter's turmoil. "I can't decide for you. If you feel more comfortable waiting, that's okay. If you want to write back, keep boundaries. Maybe start with short letters." Melina considered. I might just write a short note to say I got it, that I'm not ready for a meeting. She swallowed. I guess that's fair. She penned a brief, cautious letter. I see you're trying. I'm not ready to see you in person. Please respect that. Melina. Meanwhile, Porter's letters to Merrick turned from regretful to bitter once more. He was denied parole repeatedly for failing to show sincere remorse or stable plans. Confined to prison life, he grew resentful. The corrections counselor told him that if he improved his attitude, he might get a hearing in another year. Porter blamed Merrick for everything, fueling anger instead of introspection. Merrick, upon reading the newest vitriolic letter, recognized that Porter wasn't near any genuine repentance. He's stuck in self-pity, Mercy observed. A shame, but it's his choice to remain there. Merrick shredded the letter, determined not to let Porter's negativity intrude on their healing. Summer approached again, and Melina prepared for her high school graduation. The ceremony was a bright spot in an otherwise turbulent year. Despite the scandal, she maintained strong grades, got accepted into a reputable design institute. On graduation day, Merrick stood in the audience, brimming with pride as she crossed the stage in cap and gown, receiving her diploma with a radiant grin. After the ceremony, father and daughter posed for pictures with Mary, Mercy, and other supportive friends. We did it, Melina breathed, hugging Merrick. I'm forging a new path. He kissed her forehead, tears glistening. I always knew you could. This is just your beginning. A mysterious figure congratulates from afar. Melina thought she glimpsed Selena standing at the far edge of the crowd, wearing sunglasses and a simple dress, hands folded. But then the figure vanished. Possibly just her imagination. Melina felt a pang of complicated longing, but turned back to embrace the friends who truly stood by her. One evening, Mercy stopped by a local diner for coffee. To her surprise, Selena was working there. They locked eyes. Selena's posture stiffened, her face a blend of embarrassment and determination. Mercy offered a polite nod. She found a corner booth, and Selena hesitantly approached with an order pad. It's okay, Mercy said gently. I'm just here for coffee. Selena took a shaky breath. You're Mercy, right? The investigator who helped Merrick. I thank you for, helping him see the truth? Mercy studied her. He needed facts, not illusions. I gave him that. He's at peace now. Slowly moving on. Selena wiped a tear quickly. Good. I'm glad he deserves happiness. She paused. How's Melina? Mercy couldn't reveal much, but recognized Selena's sincerity. Melina's thriving. She finished high school with honors, heading to design school. She's strong. Selena smiled, relief and pain mingling. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you. Mercy felt a spark of empathy. Selena is paying for her crimes, but also showing regret. She left after finishing her coffee, leaving a decent tip. No more words were exchanged. While Melina busied herself with college orientation tasks, Mercy's connection with Merrick blossomed. They spent evenings discussing architecture, investigating new leads on Mercy's other cases, and even brainstorming philanthropic projects. He realized how deeply he valued her companionship, someone who knew his darkest times, yet accepted him wholly. One night after dinner, Mercy softly confided, I'm considering relocating my office so we can collaborate on some community housing initiatives. People need safe, honest housing after the real estate fiascos. Maybe we can do more good together. Merrick brightened. That sounds incredible, Mercy. Let's do it. Later that evening, in the hush of his koi pond, Merrick took her hand. We've walked through storms side by side. I can't imagine facing life's next chapter without you. Would you consider building a permanent life with me? It wasn't a flashy, kneel-withering scenario, but his sincerity shone through. Tears glistened in Mercy's eyes. I was waiting for you to be sure. Yes, yes, I want that. They embraced under the moonlight, forging a promise of a shared future, built on truth and respect, everything Selena had once destroyed. Months trickled on, and Selena abided by parole conditions diligently. Therapy, stable job, no financial manipulations. She wrote letters to Melina periodically, mostly updates on her progress, signing off with love. Melina sometimes wrote brief replies about college life, but kept it distant. At last, Selena requested, through Mary, a single supervised visit with Melina if the daughter agreed. Melina mulled over it, now a college freshman, feeling more ready to face her mother. She asked Merrick and Mercy to come along for moral support. They agreed to meet at a neutral counseling center. A professional mediator present to keep the environment safe. The day arrived under gray autumn skies. Melina, dressed in a casual hoodie and jeans, fidgeted in the waiting room. Merrick squeezed her shoulder, Mercy standing nearby. "We're here," he assured. A counselor led them into a private room. Selena sat, hands twisting anxiously in her lap, looking older but calmer. She stood when Melina entered. "Hi, baby," her voice trembled. Melina took a moment, mustering courage. "Hi, Mom?" Selena's eyes filled with tears. She gestured to the seat across from her. They both sat, the counselor quietly guiding them to speak honestly. Keep boundaries, no blame. Shifting. Merrick and Mercy observed from the sidelines, ready to intervene if needed. Selena spoke haltingly about her guilt, her regrets, the therapy that made her realize how envy and greed consumed her. She apologized repeatedly for betraying them, for forcing father and daughter to question everything. "I robbed you of a peaceful home, and that's the worst sin a mother can commit. I can't expect your forgiveness, but I'll keep trying to be worthy of any crumb of contact you offer." Melina, tears sliding down, said, "I can't just forget, but I came because I needed to see if you'd changed." She studied her mother's tear-streaked face. "You seem different now, less cunning." Selena nodded. "I am. Prison humbles you. I'm trying to atone. I know it's slow, but I'll be patient. I respect your boundaries." Melina let out a shaky breath. "I appreciate that." She paused. "I have a good life with Dad. He's engaged to Mercy. I'm in college. If you can accept I'm not ready for a full mother-daughter relationship, then maybe we can do short phone calls, letters over time. We'll see." Selena's lips quivered in a grateful smile. "That's more than I deserve. Thank you." The mediator nodded, guiding them to end on a positive note. Melina stood, hugging Merrick, tears in her eyes. Selena watched with longing, but didn't push a hug, respecting the boundaries. She only said, "Thank you for giving me a chance to speak. It means everything to me." For Merrick, seeing Selena subdued, sincere in her remorse, gave him a strange closure. He recognized the broken woman who'd once been his wife. No love remained, but perhaps pity and acceptance that they'd walked separate paths now. Exiting the counseling center, Melina leaned on Merrick, emotionally drained but oddly relieved. "It wasn't as awful as I feared," she murmured. "She's different." He stroked her hair. "You did great, kiddo. I'm proud of your courage. Healing doesn't come easy, but you took a big step." Mercy, at Merrick's side, softly added, "And if at any point you feel uneasy, you set the pace. She must respect that." Melina mustered a small smile. "I will." She glanced up at them both. "Thanks for being in my corner." They drove home under a crisp sunset, the horizon tinged with oranges and purples, reflecting their swirl of emotions: pain, relief, tentative hope. The healing was far from finished, but a new harmony settled in. Merrick was free from the shadows of betrayal, forging forward with Mercy by his side. Melina found a cautious way to let her mother re-enter her life in carefully measured increments. At the koi pond that evening, father and daughter fed the fish together, quiet companionship speaking louder than words. This pond, once a symbol of new beginnings, continued to thrive, just like them, resilient despite the storms. Mercy joined them, gently reaching for Merrick's hand, lacing her fingers through his, a silent declaration of shared future. The water rippled softly, each wave a testament that life, once shattered, could flow anew. Chapter 11. A year later, the timeline for Porter's potential parole hearing surfaced again. Whispers from within the prison suggested that despite his earlier hostility, he might secure parole soon due to overcrowding and time served with moderate improvement. Mercy relayed the intel to Merrick. He might get out. Are you worried about retaliation? Merrick considered, lips pressed thin. I used to be, but I suspect he's still too resentful to move on. We'll stay cautious. He installed additional home security just to be safe. Melina, now a sophomore in design college, was living part-time on campus, though she visited home frequently. Melina, forging strong friendships at college, felt more secure. She told Merrick about her roommate and circle of artsy pals who supported her through any swirl of gossip about her family's past. I'm not ashamed anymore, she said resolutely. It's part of my story, but it doesn't define me. Her father beamed with pride. You shine bright, my girl. Her eyes sparkled, returning the affection. I learned from the best. You and Mercy taught me resilience. Quietly, Mercy and Merrick began discussing wedding plans, intimate, not extravagant. Mary, who remained a dear friend, insisted on hosting a small engagement party at her home. You two deserve some joy after all this chaos, she teased. Melina and Mercy debated color palettes. I want subtle elegance, Mercy said. No illusions, just real warmth. Melina excitedly offered design sketches for the decor. Minimalist with handcrafted accents. Merrick watched them collaborate, heart full. He never imagined feeling this way again after Selena's betrayal. Days before the wedding date was set, Merrick received yet another letter from Porter, this time from the parole board's transitional program. Tone calmer, but still uneasy. I might be out soon. I know you have no reason to see me, but I want you to know I'm done fighting. If you want to meet once I'm out, let's bury the hatchet. If not, I'll leave you alone. Porter. Merrick read it multiple times. Could it be sincere? He wasn't sure. He tucked it away for the moment, focusing on wedding preparations. But the thought lingered. Was Porter truly done seeking revenge? Or was it another scheme? A month later, on a bright spring morning, Merrick and Mercy held their wedding in the same picturesque garden that once symbolized betrayal. Now, repurposed for love. The koi pond's gentle gurgle provided a serene backdrop. Only close friends and family attended a small, heartfelt gathering. Mary officiated, delighting in her dual role as lawyer and officiant. Melina, as bridesmaid of sorts, sparkled in a simple pastel dress, her face glowing with pride. As Mercy walked down the short path, hand in hand with Merrick, tears glistened in many eyes. The ceremony was brief, focusing on honesty and second chances. Exchanging vows felt like an exorcism of old ghosts, no illusions, just real devotion. They sealed it with a kiss, applause echoing softly under the canopy of trees. Even Mary dabbed her eyes. At the modest reception, guests mingled, enjoying catered finger foods. The mood was celebratory yet intimate. Then, near the garden gate, a figure appeared. Porter, wearing casual clothes, hesitating at the threshold. Mary noticed him first, stepping forward with alarm. Merrick caught sight, heart thumping. The newlywed tension thickened. Could Porter cause a scene? Melina, spotting her uncle, gasped. "He's out." Yes, apparently he'd been granted parole earlier than rumored. He stood uncertain, hands raised in a non-threatening gesture. Mercy tensed, ready to intervene. Merrick approached him slowly, wedding ring still shining on his finger. "What are you doing here?" Merrick asked, quietly, an edge in his voice. Porter exhaled. "I heard about your wedding. I'm not here to cause trouble. Just wanted to say congratulations, I guess, and see if you hate me less." Merrick's gaze flicked to Melina, who hovered behind him, eyes wide, then back to Porter. "This day isn't about you. You realize that?" Porter nodded, shame crossing his features. "I do. I'll leave. I just needed to see you see that you're truly okay. Because I'm trying to move on." Mary approached discreetly, verifying Porter's parole conditions. He waved a small slip of paper, some official note, clarifying he had permission to travel within the state. "I'm not violating parole," he mumbled. Merrick weighed the risk of confrontation. Then he inhaled deeply. "Fine. We're not rehashing the past here. If you must talk, keep it brief." Porter looked around at the intimate wedding scene, noticing Mercy's wedding band and Melina's protective stance by her father's side. "Seems you replaced Selena, huh? Good. She was never worthy." Sorry. That sounded bitter. I'm not great at this." He rubbed his neck, struggling. "Congratulations, Merrick. Truly. It's good you found someone who respects you." Merrick's hardened glare softened slightly, seeing real awkwardness in Porter. "Thanks, I guess. This is an event for friends, so maybe you should go." Porter nodded. "Understood. Sorry for crashing. Just can we talk another time? I want to fix things if possible." Merrick sighed, remembering Mercy's advice about closure. "We can meet at Mary's office sometime neutral ground. I owe it to Melina to at least see if you've changed." A flicker of relief lit Porter's face. "Thank you. I'll wait for that call. Congrats again, man. And sorry." He cast a guilty glance at Melina, who stared silently, arms folded. Then he turned and left quietly. Melina breathed out a shaky sigh. That was surreal. She looked at Merrick. "You handled it well, Dad. No chaos on your wedding day." He forced a small, wry grin. "I guess all those lessons in crisis management paid off." Mercy joined them, giving Merrick's arm a reassuring squeeze. "Shall we return to the celebration?" Yes, they returned, forging onward with their joyful moment, mindful that old ghosts never fully vanished, but determined not to let them overshadow new happiness. Over the next week, Merrick arranged a short meeting with Porter at Mary's office. Melina was torn on whether to attend, eventually deciding she needed to see her uncle face to face to gauge any sincerity. Mercy accompanied for moral support. Porter arrived alone, looking anxious but sober. They convened in a small conference room. Mary supervised from one side, ready to step in if tempers flared. Porter cleared his throat. "Thanks for letting me come. I know I have no right to ask forgiveness. But I'm out, trying to go straight. I got a menial job at a warehouse. Nothing fancy, but honest." Merrick's face remained guarded. "Good, that's better than forging documents." Porter grimaced. "Yeah, about that, I truly regret it. I was desperate, but that's no excuse. I messed up so badly. I lost everything. including my freedom. So I'm sorry, Melina asked quietly. Do you blame Dad for your prison time? Porter winced. I used to. But I see now I blame me. I made the choices. I wasn't forced. I let greed and envy drive me. He mustered a shaky exhale. I just hope, someday, we can be a family in some capacity, even if it's just civil acquaintances. Merrick studied him, searching for hidden manipulations. Porter's posture seemed earnest. I appreciate the apology. We'll see how trust can't be rebuilt overnight. Melina spoke. I don't hate you, Uncle Porter, but I can't pretend everything is normal. Maybe after more time we can talk again. Relief flickered in Porter's eyes. That's fair, thank you. I'll respect boundaries. No more stunts like that, Breakin'. He bowed his head. Hope your new life is good, Merrick. You deserve it. Mary wrapped up the meeting swiftly, noting for the record that Porter expressed remorse. They parted ways with no dramatic outburst, just a quiet acceptance that he's on parole, and they remain cautious. With Selena also on parole, occasional short calls with Melina continued, each supervised by a counselor. Over time, Melina grew more at peace hearing her mother's consistent remorse. She remained guarded, though, and rarely saw her in person. Merrick politely stayed out of these calls unless Melina wanted him there. Selena, for her part, stuck to honest work at the diner and lived in a modest boarding house. She had no illusions about reuniting with Merrick or returning to their old life. It was enough that she had a tenuous line to her daughter, hoping one day for a deeper bond. 6 months into marriage, Merrick and Mercy found a gentle rhythm. Their home was a place of calm routines, a blend of architecture sketches, investigative case files, and shared laughter. When Melina visited from campus, she found warmth and acceptance. Mercy never tried to replace Selena, but offered honest guidance as a caring adult figure. One weekend, they visited a charitable home-building project, referencing the fiasco that once plagued Merrick's finances. Now, ironically, he poured energy into constructing safe, affordable housing for underprivileged families. Mercy used her investigative skills to ensure no corruption. It felt like a direct counterpoint to the forgeries and shady deals that once threatened him. Melina joined them on site, snapping photos for her college portfolio. This is how it should be, she mused, using skills to help others, not cheat them. Merrick patted her shoulder. Exactly. Epilogue. Time flowed, each season forging deeper stability. A few final snapshots of Merrick's new life, Melina's milestone. She completed her 2nd year at the Design Institute, thriving academically. She rarely visited Selena, but kept up occasional letters, each less painful than the last. She confided to Merrick that maybe someday, after graduation, she might meet her mother face-to-face for a heart-to-heart. I want to be fully ready. Mercy's investigative expansions. She and Merrick collaborated on a pro bono initiative, merging architecture and investigative oversight to ensure philanthropic projects remain corruption-free. The local press wrote a glowing piece on the architect and the investigator, praising their synergy. Porter's quiet presence, released from parole after fulfilling obligations, Porter moved to a different city to get a fresh start. He sporadically texted Melina cordial greetings, never pushing. She occasionally replied politely, but rarely more than a few lines. The old closeness was gone, replaced by distant civility. Selena's steady but distant redemption. Freed from parole after meeting all conditions, Selena found stable employment in a different county, occasionally mailing small gifts to Melina like a painting or crocheted scarf. Melina accepted them kindly, but maintained emotional distance. No illusions remained, just a cautious mother-daughter thread that might or might not deepen in the future. On a bright summer day, Merrick cut the ribbon for the newly completed annex at the Cultural Center an expansion he'd designed with Mercy's and Melina's input. The annex featured an art gallery showcasing local student works, including some of Melina's best pieces. Standing before the crowd, Merrick delivered a short speech. Building something worthwhile means examining every support beam, removing what's rotten, and fortifying the structure with integrity. This annex symbolizes second chances, proof that even after fractures, we can create new spaces for hope and community. Melina stood to the side, tears of pride in her eyes, snapping photos for the local press. Mercy smiled up at him, her heart brimming with love. The applause swelled, and as Merrick's gaze swept across the audience, he caught glimpses of Mary, Sergeant Vale, old colleagues, new volunteers, all celebrating this fresh chapter. He inhaled, feeling the warm sun on his face, reflecting that once, betrayal had almost destroyed him. But architecture taught him that destruction is not the end, it's an opportunity to rebuild. And rebuild he did. His home, his heart, his family, each piece carefully placed with honesty, loyalty, and compassion. In that moment, Merrick was certain. He had built a life no betrayal could topple again. The future lay wide open, awaiting more expansions, more designs, more possibilities. And that truly was the greatest blueprint he could have ever conceived.